Clashing swords with everything he's got, our MC tries to hold back his opponent's brutal attack. But the impact is so heavy that the kid ends up stepping back, letting out a groan of pain. Wasting no time, the rival seizes the opening and lands a solid kick, sending the kid flying. With wide eyes, our little MC can barely believe the guy's ridiculous speed. Not missing a beat, the enemy leaps, tearing through the air to deliver the finishing blow. But facing it head-on with guts, the kid blocks the strike in a loud burst of sparks. Pressing the blade down without mercy, the opponent gives no breathing room while our hero asks, totally outraged, what the heck this is all about. Looking deep into his eyes, the guy just apologizes and drops the truth bomb, saying he doesn't want to bite the dust either. At that moment, pure shock covers our MC's face upon hearing this cowardly confession. Letting out a yell of frustration, the kid is blasted backward by an energy explosion fired by the backstabber. Sliding across the grass to avoid wiping out, he forces himself back into a fighting stance by sheer willpower. Fully locked into the fight, the kid raises his hand and firmly declares he's going to end this in 3 moves. Mocking him right back, the rival repeats the exact same phrase with a smug grin on his face. However, anger takes over our boy, who glares at the dude with absolute fury in his eyes. Charging in full throttle, the MC yells that he doesn't even need 3 hits because he'll finish the guy in 3 seconds. In the blink of an eye, the kid dashes forward with laser focus, while the villain just gives a cynical little smirk, like he's got a trick up his sleeve. From a distance, some big shot on a horse just watches the brawl unfold, putting on a mysterious vibe. Swiftly, our hero's heavy footsteps echo across the battlefield, and picking up more and more speed, he sets up the perfect strike. Slicing the air with crazy force, the kid launches his attack, but the rival dodges with an annoying amount of ease. Getting right next to his ear, the backstabber whispers a dark piece of advice about not leaving your buddies behind. In that exact second, their swords clash again with an impact that makes everything around them shake. Our MC's mind flashes back to a mysterious figure who had said that exact same phrase in the past. Losing his focus for a split second, the kid feels the weight of those words and his guard falters. His feet stumble, totally breaking his defensive stance. But out of nowhere, 2 hooded dudes wearing skull masks pop up in the middle of the mess. Taking advantage of the distraction, the opponent shoves our hero hard, making some space. Right on cue, a massive magic attack explodes exactly where the 2 were just throwing down. Sent flying by the brutal blast, the guards let out desperate cries of agony. Even the big shot's horse freaks out and rears up, while the guy, completely clueless, tries to calm the spooked animal. Totally stunned, the noble gulps hard, watching the crazy destruction happening right in front of him. Through the thick smoke, the backstabber is already seen jumping away from the blast with some unnatural agility. And playing the victim, the scammer lets out a loud, fake scream as if he took a direct hit. Realizing the setup, the suit-wearing guy clenches his teeth, fuming at the dude's sheer audacity. Right then, the backstabber lands perfectly near the horse, already drawing a sword wrapped in dangerous purple lightning. Pointing the blade at the big shot's neck, he mocks him, asking if the rich boy knows how to throw hands too. With a look of total superiority, the noble tells the guy to chill out and not underestimate his skills. Soon, a look of pure fury takes over the rich guy's face, refusing to take that kind of disrespect. Firing off a crazy electric blast from horseback, the noble attacks, but his rival slides back, escaping without a scratch. Even with the intense pressure, the traitor lands smoothly on the ground, sliding back without taking any damage. However, a weird detail catches the villain's attention, making his eyes go wide instantly. Suddenly panicking, the rich guy starts screaming at the top of his lungs for the enemy to stay away. Behind him, the 2 masked assassins already have their knives ready for the finishing strike. Gathering a monstrous amount of energy, the suit screams his lungs out, saying he'll be the one to eliminate the backstabber himself. But keeping his cool completely, the villain just stares at the whole scene without moving a single muscle in his face. In the middle of a lightning tornado, the rich guy roars with all his magical power overflowing from his body. Quickly, a giant magic circle full of runes forms, lighting up the whole field in purple. Our hero recognizes the spell from afar and is completely shocked, muttering that it's absolute madness. Feeling the insane spike in magic, the traitor gets into a fighting stance, announcing he's detected some dangerous power. Even so, he grumbles from the corner of his mouth with that bored look, saying things are starting to become a hassle. Suddenly, the scene cuts to a chaotic past, showing humanity's last fortress completely swallowed by hellish flames. On the castle walls, a colossal explosion sends giant chunks of stone flying everywhere. Soon the main tower crumbles with a deafening crash, kicking up a cloud of pure destruction. In the middle of the rubble, an armored, battered warrior breathes super heavily, struggling to stay awake. And walking slowly through the fire, a demonic being coldly points out that this guy is the sole survivor of the wipeout. Dragging a monstrous flaming sword, the beast approaches, in no rush at all to finish the job. With massive horns and a look of pure evil, the demon lord Colin Hall reveals his intimidating presence. Completely wrecked, our warrior stays on his knees, bleeding and clutching his chest, with zero strength left to stand. The look of absolute defeat is plastered all over his bruised face, knowing there's nowhere left to run. Keeping up his mocking tone, the villain lord praises him for fighting on even as the last bug standing. Wickedly, the demon cracks a sinister smile and says that, thanks to that gutsy attitude, he'll let the warrior choose how he wants to check out. Bleeding and with pure hatred in his eyes, our hero mutters through gritted teeth that the end is right here. Deep in that tired gaze lies the heavy, cruel doubt of whether this is really the end of the line for mankind. Flashing back 1 year, the memory shows the bizarre and gloomy day the monsters started their invasion against the royal capital. Even fighting bravely, the regular soldiers were mercilessly wiped out, falling defenseless against the magical beasts. Crossing the city skies, winged creatures spread terror while a harsh truth about the use of magic came to light. Sadly, that so-called magical power was an exclusive perk only for the pure, blooded rich nobles who thought they were gods. In the town squares, the elite mages raised their arms, creating glowing defensive circles with all the pride in the world, and firing destructive beams of light. They obliterated the lesser demons, totally convinced they'd be the nation's great heroes. With a violent boom, the magic blew up the enemies, showing off the power of that class that believed they were untouchable. However, from the smoke emerged massive demonic silhouettes, proving they hadn't even scratched the surface of the real threat. Soon, a terrifying red spell completely shatters their defense, proving that the humans hyped up magic was nothing. Bringing the apocalypse, a colossal fireball drops from the sky, swallowing the castle and proving that to them, this was just child's play. In full-blown panic, one of the top nobles freezes in terror, watching his doom approach from above without being able to do a single thing about it. In the end, the result is the whole city burning down to ashes, while a wail of regret echoes in the air. Laying on the ground all busted up, our hero bitterly regrets the incoming end. At that moment, a glowing magic book floats in the air, while the kid thinks everything would be different if he had found this sooner. Then the scene focuses on our MC, standing and bleeding heavily, but still holding his ground like a boss. With a cynical grin, the demon lord mockingly asks if the kid has already picked how he wants to kick the bucket. Turning his back, the villain coldly suggests he wouldn't mind tearing his limbs off, or even roasting the poor guy alive. Lowering his head, our boy grumbles that the monster runs his mouth way too much. Totally taken aback by the sheer audacity, the demon raises an eyebrow, not getting the kid's swagger. Gripping his sword hilt tight, our MC announces it's time to bust out his secret move, since there's no other way out. Without a second thought, he leaps, tearing through the air, and tells the lord to shut his trap once and for all. The very next second, their blades clash, throwing sparks, and the horned freak lets out a gasp of surprise. Screaming his lungs out, the hero puts every last drop of his strength into this kamikaze strike. With a ridiculous impact, the kid's sword almost makes the demon lord stumble backward. Instantly, the villain's expression changes, showing genuine shock at that raw power. Spinning his body, our warrior chains together another violent slash without giving him a chance to breathe. Caught completely off guard, the lord lets out a startled roar as the attack nails him right in the chest. Dragging his foot on the ground, the demon tries to stop his slide from the brutal impact. But recovering his footing fast, the horned guy mocks him, asking if a mere human thought he was gonna win with just that. Letting out an evil laugh, the beast thinks he's in total control of the situation. Except out of nowhere, several invisible slashes tear into the villain's body, making him roar in pain without knowing where they came from. Outraged, the lord yells that it's impossible for human swordsmanship to scratch his perfect skin. Cold and calculating, our MC mentally agrees that a regular technique would never work against this guy. The focus quickly shifts to the warrior's trembling hands gripping his weapon with all his might. Wrapped in a sinister blue aura, he reveals he's using the forbidden sword capable of devouring the user's own soul. Without losing momentum, the kid charges like a lightning bolt right at his target again. With that, an insane flurry of strikes explodes across the scene, turning into a literal storm of sparks and fire. Dodging by a hair, our hero escapes a deadly flaming punch from the big guy. Instantly, the MC notices the enemy's guard is wide open and preps the finishing strike. With a clean, relentless slash, he chops off one of the demon lord's arms. Furious, the monster grinds his teeth, feeling the mind-numbing pain of his severed limb. But with a weird reflex, the villain grabs the kid's blade with his remaining hand and trashes his so-called forbidden technique. Flashing a sadistic smile, the horned freak says the kid might have had a shot if he used it in a sneak attack. Suddenly, the sound of breaking glass echoes as our hero's sword starts to crack. All of a sudden, the blade turns to dust in the kid's hand, destroying his last line of defense. Seizing the chance, the demon uses his own weapon to impale the kid, letting him know he was super close. With a scream of hatred, the lord finishes the attack, driving his sword right into our warrior's chest. In that second, a colossal explosion of flames swallows the entire scene, wiping out whatever was left of the battlefield. Amidst the smoke, the MC's body remains standing but is already completely motionless and lifeless. Even so, the guy's consciousness regrets that all that sacrifice wasn't enough to save mankind. Clenching his teeth in frustration, he feels the weight of defeat crushing his soul. Slowly, the warrior's body finally gives out and falls backward toward the dirt ground. In the distance, the demon walks away, grumbling that losing an arm was the best that human could manage to get out of him. As his vision fades to black, our hero mentally apologizes to all his fallen brothers in arms. As a final glimpse, the monster's victorious face confirms the battle has been lost for good. Finally, his body hits the dry ground, marking the definitive fall of the last survivor. Right then, that same mysterious book from earlier pops back up, all stained with the kid's blood. Out of nowhere, blue magic circles start spinning intensely around the bloody book. Waking up slowly, our MC opens his eyes, totally confused, and wonders how he's still breathing. Looking around, he realizes he's floating in some weird, pitch-black space. Instantly, the memory of the demon lord Colin Hall tears through the kid's mind like a living nightmare. Snapping into a defensive stance, the kid shouts out loud, asking who's hiding in the shadows. Soon, a look of pure shock takes over his sweaty face. Right in front of him, the magic tome floats, giving off a powerful, ancient aura. Without blinking, the hero recognizes the artifact, muttering in awe that it's a rare grimoire. Glowing brightly, the book starts speaking telepathically, revealing that the kid's blood woke it up from a long slumber. Soaking in the info, the MC repeats the words, baffled by the promise to start everything over from scratch. Clenching his fist with renewed strength, determination burns heavy in the guy's veins once again. Full of anger and hope, he swears that if he can really hit the reset button on his life, things are going to be way different this time around. With a focused, deadly glare, the kid accepts the magic offer without a second thought. On their own, the book's pages flip fast while the voice promises to teach him true magic so he can surpass absolutely anyone. At that moment, a blinding light swallows the warrior's body, prepping for an insane leap through time. Like reality was made of glass, the entire space shatters into thousands of glowing pieces. Free falling through this time vacuum, our hero swears payback, burning the demon lord's name into his memory. Locked in on revenge, his look guarantees that this time, he's gonna crush the villain without mercy. Amidst the dimensional shards, the grimoire finishes the spell, saying it will show him a new future. Cutting the scene straight to a scorching sun, it shows a mob screaming for blood in a filthy colosseum. Blinking heavily, our MC wakes up dizzy in the middle of that hellish and suffocating screaming. Looking ahead, the kid finds himself in a dirt arena facing a giant brute armed with a ridiculous hammer. Confused by his own clothes, he realizes he's only holding a crappy little sword and an old wooden shield. Without giving him time to think, the enemy gladiator is already bringing the sledgehammer down hard to smash his head like a watermelon. Dodging on pure reflex, the kid instantly realizes he's been sent back to the past, right to the time when he was just a slave. In the stands, the rich snobs cheer with joy, betting on our boy's brutal end in the arena. Finding it hilarious, a suited-up noble named Viscount Slaith enjoys the little horror show from his VIP box. With a sick, twisted smile, the rich guy explains to his guests that commoners are only good for entertaining the elite anyway. Down below, the giant jumps with everything he's got, aiming a finishing strike straight at the hero's chest to end the fight. But keeping absolute calm, our MC faces his demise head on, totally ready to flip the script for good. With an absurd crash, the giant smashes the ground, yelling that they are just pawns. In the stands, the wrought nobility bursts into laughter, thinking the scene of pure violence is just the best. Completely hyped, the crowd chants the brute's name, demanding more carnage. With a manic smile, Viscount Slaith revels in the beatdown about to happen right in front of him. From above, you can see the entire arena vibrating, while the energy of the brawl takes over the place. Staring at the sandy floor, our MC finally connects the dots and realizes exactly where he ended up. In his mind flashes the exact memory of that ruthless executioner from the past, confirming his suspicions. Surprised by the lack of reaction, the giant lets out a grunt, not understanding his opponent's weirdly calm vibe. With a swift move, the kid dodges the brutal attack, realizing he really did travel back to the days when he was just a gladiator slave. Shocked to see magic circles on his own hand, the guy realizes the overpowered grimoire fused with his body. Quickly, our hero's gaze shifts, focusing on a bold new possibility to turn the tables. Planting his foot firmly on the ground, he preps his counterattack with a speed that just wasn't there before. Like a lightning bolt, the MC dashes forward, cutting through the wind with his crappy sword in hand. Giving zero chance for defense, he lands a perfect upward slash, swearing that the change starts right here. Caught off guard, the brute groans in pain while the kid mentally focuses on destroying his old destiny. In a split second, the blade chops off the giant's arm, making a red fountain spray everywhere. Pulling off a stylish backflip, the warrior lands smoothly and completely unharmed on the sandy floor. Totally locked in, the guy boils with rage, remembering he needs to prevent the future demon apocalypse. In absolute shock, the crowd goes wild, unable to believe the lightning, fast turnaround that just went down. Facing this, our MC figures out that his only way out is to master the magic from that ancient book as fast as possible. However, he knows that being just a humiliated slave makes that impossible, so he urgently needs a genius plan. With his eyes locked onto the VIP box, the hero decides he needs to grab the attention of the real big bosses of this place. Way up high sits Marquis Darius Hall, the top-tier noble the kid needs to impress to infiltrate the rich family. Staring down the authorities from afar, the MC promises he's going to handle this way faster than in his past life. Furious about the plot twist, the suited-up Slaith grumbles that the whole peasant crowd bet their coins on that useless giant. Whispering to a goon, the rich guy confesses that the people thought it was impossible to take down the monster pampered by the nobility. Soon, one of the organizers gets a cowardly order and gulps hard, knowing he can't go against the boss's wishes. Desperate, the middleman prays in his head for our kid to lose the fight, or his own head will be on the chopping block. Meanwhile, the kid catches on to the gossip, realizing Slaith wants to use him as cannon fodder to please the elite. With a sharp mind, our warrior decides to use that same dirty trick to his advantage to secure a spot in the Hall family. Taking a deep breath, the kid sets his stance and adopts a totally intimidating combat posture. Without wasting time, he points his old sword at the gate and screams at them to send the next opponent out already. Ticked off by the slave's arrogance, the Viscount punches the balcony, letting out a muffled curse. Quickly, the other rich folks start demanding explanations, asking if the plan wasn't for the big guy to win the match. Panicking, one of the nobles complains, trembling, that he bet an absurd fortune on this rigged game. Trying to put out the fighter, Slaith stutters, asking them to chill, and lies straight to their faces, saying the defeat is all part of the show. Far from the chaos, two mystery suits of high rank analyze the strike with deep attention. Cold as ice, the Marquis comments that the precision of that slash was something not even the greatest knights in the Empire could pull off easily. Chuckling, his partner agrees, thinking it's awesome to see the kid defying Slaith's orders live. Down in the arena, several gladiators are already charging at our MC, screaming and ready for a beatdown. In the VIP box, the Viscount tries to calm his partners, promising that this illusion of victory will just make the crowd spend even more money. With his ego through the roof, the scammer guarantees the bloody script is still fully under his absolute control. But behind his smile, he's boiling with rage, swearing that in the next fight, the cocky kid is going to be sliced up without mercy. Cut to the arena, and our hero already has his foot on the chest of another defeated foe, while the crowd chants his name non-stop. Totally in disbelief, the rich guy's eyes practically bulge out of his skull seeing the scene. Drooling with rage, he pins the organizer against the wall, demanding to know why this circus didn't stick to their dirty deal. With the vein on his forehead about to pop, the suit loses his mind over the slave's absurd audacity. Having zero morals, the Viscount screams, ordering them to unleash all the gladiators at once onto the kid in a cowardly move. From the VIP box, the Marquis just crosses his arms, finding the all-out brawl getting more and more interesting. In that exact moment, the iron gates swing wide open, and a horde of armed fighters storms the sand, marching in for the takedown. Slicing through the crowd, our MC remembers that in his past life, the Marquis fought for a world where everyone could use magic equally. Surrounded on all sides, he focuses on the main plan, which is to prove his worth right there and earn the big shot's trust. But just winning the fight isn't enough. He knows he needs to put on a true show of strength to really get noticed. In an act of pure swagger, the kid opens his arms and calls for all the goons to bring it on at the same time. Like gasoline on a fire, the crowd totally loses it, thinking the slave is a suicidal maniac. Taking the opening, a brute jumps in hard, aiming a deadly axe swing right at our hero's head. With chilling calmness, the warrior doesn't move a muscle, just waiting for the exact moment of impact to act. In the blink of an eye, he dodges the axe and strings together a series of slashes, taking down the entire front line. Completely humiliated, the enemies panic, not understanding how they missed a target that looked so wide open. Without losing his rhythm, our MC's blade dances through the air, slicing the next unlucky guy who dares step in his way. With a clean, brutal motion, the kid tears through the opponent's chest, making a red rain wash the arena from edge to edge. With the dead eyes of a true war veteran, he doesn't even blink at the heavy damage he just caused. Testing their luck, two spearmen charge together, yelling like lunatics to try and pierce the kid's impenetrable defense. Quickly, he stumps down hard, crushing a fallen warrior's weapon and stopping the enemy rush in its tracks. Immediately, his counterattack is devastating, snapping the spears and sending the two jerks straight to the dirt. Sneaking around, a coward tries to attack from behind, fully believing he found the perfect blind spot. With all the strength in the world, the goon brings his sword down, yelling in excitement, thinking he secured the bounty for the takedown. But out of the corner of his eye, our MC had already mapped the move way before the guy even took a breath. Gripping the hilt of his wooden weapon, the hero preps a block that's going to crush the poor guy's soul. In a colossal clash of blue energy, our boy's sword cuts through the attack and the enemy in half, causing bizarre damage. From the collision, a giant pillar of light explodes, tearing through the arena sky and blinding everyone with the impact. Up above, the Viscount goes pale, staring at a level of power that's completely irrational for a mere slave. Making things worse, the gladiator's shattered blade flies like a missile and stabs right through the VIP box wall. Right in the middle of the dust, the Marquis remains standing, totally unshaken, not backing up a single millimeter in the face of danger. Completely paralyzed, the scumbag Slaith drools in terror, realizing he narrowly avoided becoming a roasted noble kebab. Stepping firmly on the broken sword, our MC shows that playtime is officially over. With a dark glare, the kid readies his old blade, geared up for the next step of his crazy plan. Raising the dirty weapon, he points it straight at the VIP box without a single drop of fear on his face. Foaming at the mouth with rage, the Viscount swears he's going to make the slave pay dearly for this public humiliation. High up, the rich guy screams like a lunatic while the Marquis just silently observes the wrecked wall. Cold as ice, the Lord mentions that the pawn has become the player and totally ruined Slaith's little theater. Showing zero pity, the white-haired big shot says a rebellious slave who bears his fangs deserves the maximum punishment. Spooked by the heavy suggestion, the coward's eyes go wide, asking if he should just finish the kid off right there. Keeping his superior posture, the Marquis questions if the suit has forgotten basic noble common sense. Beside them, the other rich folks gulp hard, feeling the pressure of the sinister conversation going down. Slamming his staff on the ground, Slaith accuses the Lord of still chasing those fake ideals of equality. Suddenly, a creepy green energy starts glowing in the scammer's hand, threatening to destroy everything. In the rich guy's mind flashes the ancient lore that magic was a divine gift meant to create an absolute, unquestionable hierarchy. Full of arrogance, the Viscount claims the nobles are God's representatives and accuses the Marquis of being a blind heretic. Pointing the glowing magic right in his partner's face, the coward asks if he intends to challenge divinity in the middle of the Colosseum. Flashing a smirk, our hero finds all that religious nonsense going on up there pretty funny. Down below, the whole crowd starts whispering, totally confused about what the big beef is. Amidst the chaos, one of the suits panics and calls for the Divine Guard to arrest the slave immediately. Glaring at the VIP box with fire in his eyes, the kid calls the Viscount out by name super loud, shutting the crowd up. Totally mocking him, he says that if the rich guy is really God's right-hand man, he needs to come down and prove it in a fistfight. Straight up challenging him, the kid tells the noble to fight him in the name of this almighty. Completely shocked, the stands lose it, thinking the peasant has fully lost his mind and just wants to speed up his own demise. Making faces of disgust, the other aristocrats reject the suicidal warrior's absurd arrogance. Silent and calculating, the Marquis just watches the kid's bold move without interfering in the drama at all. Stomping his foot in rage, the Viscount mutters heavy insults, calling the hero filthy trash. Overflowing with hate, the suit preps his green spell, swearing revenge for having his plans and his god mocked in public. Leaping from the VIP box like a madman, the villain fires all his magical power straight down at the dirt arena. In that exact millisecond, our MC's eye glows as he hears the mysterious voice of the grimoire catching his attention. A holographic panel pops up in front of him, detailing that the Viscount's wind magic level is a joke and he has almost zero real talent. Confident he's going to slice the kid up, the rich guy screams that he'll grant his reckless death, wish right now, without an ounce of pity. Totally chill, our warrior doesn't even blink at the unhinged noble's blind fury. Clenching his fist tight, the kid waits for the impact while the suit yells, promising to send him straight to the afterlife. Full of himself, the Viscount is absolutely sure that attack is a guaranteed game over. In the stands, the big shots are already placing bets on how many pieces the slave's body will be chopped into by the wind blade spell. Fierce and loud, the green hurricane charges in, tearing up the arena floor with no mercy. Pointing his finger, Slaith tells the Marquis to get a good look at the crushing difference in power between a lord and a mere slave. But the dust settles, and our hero stands there perfectly fine, with just a torn shirt and not a single scratch on his body. Instantly, the book's panel reveals the kid possesses Grandmaster-level swordsmanship and a massive base magic resistance. Smiling on the inside, the kid celebrates getting immunity against weak spells thanks to the Grimoire's system. With an ironic look, he mentally gives thanks that this weird ability kicked in right when he needed to put on a show. Smoothly, the MC lets the wind blast hit his chest as if it were the most natural thing in the world. With a quick wave of his arm, he dispels the entire spell, mocking that it felt like a summer breeze that was way too weak. In absolute panic, the rich guy's eyes widen, feeling his heart stop as he watches his useless magic fail like that. Behind him, the other nobles also turn pale, stuttering, unable to believe the live nightmare. Without wasting a single second, the kid takes off at ridiculous speed, tearing through the air straight toward the shocked villain. Trembling from head to toe, the Viscount tries to draw his own sword, screaming that this can't be real. Even in his panic, he manages to pull a piece of the blade out, acting purely on survival instinct. But with a flying leap, our boy lands a heavy strike, completely shattering the suit's weak stance. Sweating cold, the coward tastes the bitter flavor of the end knocking on his door way too early. Immediately, the slave's wooden blade stops 1 millimeter from the noble's throat, freezing him in pure terror. With the villain surrendered on his knees, the hero owns the scene, proving who's really running the Colosseum now. Suddenly, a sound from the Gruyere pings in the kid's mind, warning him about terrifying mana approaching fast. From the sandy ground, several glowing purple circles start popping up, surrounding the kid's body without warning. Emerging from the shadows, several demonic hands grab the warrior's legs, pinning the poor guy in place by force. Totally immobilized by the ghostly claws, the MC grinds his teeth, trying to figure out what kind of cowardly spell this is. In an instant, a black claw covers his mouth, muffling any shout or attempt to curse them out. Walking steadily, a knight in shiny white armor steps onto the field, announcing the arrival of the heavy cavalry. Soon, an entire battalion of elite guards surrounds the hero, accusing the kid of insulting the nobility and mocking God. Pointing his weapon straight at the prisoner, the squad leader decrees the suspect's immediate arrest in the name of divine justice. Flexing every muscle, the MC tries to break free from the dark bindings that keep squeezing tighter. Imposing and silent, the armored guard just watches the prisoner struggle without showing a drop of pity. Behind the troops, the legend is that this elite guard belongs to a fanatical organization that defends noble blood to the end. Being made up entirely of powerful aristocrats, they have raw strength that crushes regular fighters in the snap of a finger. Mentally, our hero calculates that breaking that prison spell would be a piece of cake, using the magic book's power. On the flip side, he feels the claws digging into his skin and realizes he can't show his strong cards to such dangerous VIPs right now. With a glint of pure mischief in his eye, the kid decides it's time to play the craziest card of his life. Forcing his jaw against the filthy claw, he takes a huge breath to drop a bombshell in the middle of the Colosseum. Screaming his lungs out, the kid falsely introduces himself as Colin Hall, ordering them to release the Marquis's son right now. Immediately, the armed guards freeze in their tracks, totally stunned by the dirty kid's absurd revelation. Even the Viscount chokes back tears and widens his eyes in terror, repeating the name, unable to believe the nonsense he just heard. In the stands, the gossip catches fire, with the whole peasant crowd swearing up and down that the Marquis never had a lost second here. Full of swagger and still chained up, our MC rubs it in their faces that the Divine Guard would never dare hurt a blue-blooded noble. On the inside, he's laughing out loud, eager to see how the arrogant elite is going to handle this massive bluff thrown into the fan. But suddenly, an enraged rich guy announces that trying to steal a noble's identity is the same as asking to perish in pieces. Drooling with rage and seizing the chance, the coward Slaith leaps with his sword drawn, yelling that the lying slave deserves to meet his maker 10,000 times over. Desperate, the suit screams, asking the guard to hold off on the punishment. Right on time, Marquis Darius steps onto the scene, grabbing everyone's attention in the arena. Terrified, the coward tries to explain himself, saying he was just going to finish off the insolent slave. Blinded by hate, the Lord calls his partner an idiot for trying to drag his family's name through the mud. Clueless, the guards freeze in place, completely confused by the shouting match. In total shock, the Viscount stands there looking like a fool, not knowing how to react to the scolding. Firm in his decision, the white-haired big shot grabs our MC's arm. With a quick pull, the Marquis brings the kid close, showing he's taken control of the situation. Surprisingly, the Lord praises the warrior's guts for stepping up to the suit in front of everyone. With a smirk, our hero realizes his crazy gamble totally paid off. Returning the smile, the Marquis seems to really like the guy's audacity. Face to face with the scammer, the rich guy protects the kid by using his own body as a shield. Quickly, the coward lowers his head, apologizing for the mess caused by the Lord's fake son. Full of attitude, the MC claps back shamelessly, claiming the suit is the one who started with the insults. Immediately, the Marquis tells the kid to shut his trap, cutting the taunt at the root. With a stern face, the VIP tells the squad that he's going to personally give the cheeky kid a heavy reprimand. Right after, he dismisses the Divine Cavalry, ordering everyone to head back to the barracks. Desperate, the Viscount yells, saying they absolutely cannot let that prisoner go. With his hand on his sword, the coward warns he won't let the Lord walk away with the slave just from this ridiculous act. A bit tense, our boy watches the suits freak out from very close. Blinded by rage, the scammer swears he's going to eliminate the prisoner no matter the cost. Keeping his cool, the Marquis turns around to face the armed threat. Watching the scene, the kid lets out a teasing chuckle, finding the other guy's desperation hilarious. Full of snark, the MC asks if the threat to take out just anyone in front of him includes the big guy standing next to him. With all the calm in the world, he reminds them that the white-haired VIP is the absolute lord of this entire territory. Plus, our hero points at the divine guards who supposedly came to protect the nobles. Cold and calculating, the kid points out that the Viscount's attitude is basically a declaration of armed rebellion. Instantly, all color drains from the rich guy's face, taken over by pure dread. In total panic, the coward steps back, stuttering that he didn't mean the threat like that. Totally defeated, he lets his sword drop to the ground, making a heavy metallic clang echo in the arena. Quickly, the knight captain apologizes for the misunderstanding and backs off smoothly. In a sign of respect, the whole troop bows, ready to exit stage left and avoid more drama. Before leaving, the guard leader shoots a death glare, warning the Viscount that this beef isn't over. In a threatening tone, the soldier makes it clear he's reporting this entire circus to the high brass at the magic tower. Making things worse, he guarantees the higher-ups will reach out regarding the rich guy's punishment real soon. Genuinely relieved, our hero lets out a heavy sigh with his hand on his chest, feeling the danger pass. Walking toward the gate, the guards agree they need to deep dive into this Colin guy's backstory anyway. Confused, one of the soldiers asks how the Lord had a grown son without anyone in the court knowing. Curious, they try to figure out how a secret that massive stayed hidden for so long. Cutting the gossip, the captain states with absolute certainty that the kid is definitely not the Lord's blood son. Intrigued, the lackey questions why the Marquis would protect someone so dangerous and highly resistant to magic. In response, the boss orders them to monitor the kid's every step and breath from now on. Without a word, the squad nods and continues their quick march out of the gladiator arena. Far away from all the screaming, a fancy carriage cruises down the estate's dirt roads, heading for the castle. Inside, the Marquis lets out a loud, obnoxious laugh, totally dropping his serious act from before. Super hyped, the old man praises our boy's award-worthy acting back at the Colosseum. Sitting face to face in the luxury ride, the two of them finally get a moment of peace to chat without spies around. Breaking the silence, the kid says thanks for the clutch backup back at the combat arena. Straight to the point. The MC already figures the Lord paid a hefty bail to get him out of slavery. Curious, the big shot leans in, asking if the warrior learned to fight like a savage in the middle of a war. Impressed, he notes the kid's moves look like those of a veteran, or someone trained by a legendary master. Keeping a straight face, the hero starts spinning a lie, claiming he was born in a poor, far-off village. To add weight to the story, he says his parents passed away and the cowardly villagers sold him to flesh peddlers. But the twist in the lie hits when he says a mysterious noble bought him and taught him the basics of magic and swordplay. Looking down, our actor fakes some emotion, saying this unknown master was like a real dad to him. Calculating his words, the kid says this man had a grand vision about how magic should be used but failed at the end of his life. Showing determination, the boy states that his main goal now is to fulfill his late master's dream at any cost. Covered in goosebumps by the speech, the Marquis adjusts his seat, amazed by such loyalty and willpower. In the Lord's mind, the magic attacks failed because the kid knew basic theory and had a heart bulletproof against hardship. With a crazy gleam in his eye, the rich guy realizes he found the exact monster he was looking for to aid his cause. In his thoughts, the Marquis sees the ex-slave as the perfect missing piece for his chessboard. Full of hope, the old man truly believes this young guy has the raw strength needed to change the world. Outside, the butler knocks twice on the door, announcing the trip is finally over. With a slight bump, the luxury carriage parks right at the main entrance of the estate. Under the sunlight, a gigantic mansion fit for the highest royalty stands tall on the horizon. Absolutely colossal, the place shows off the Hall family's true financial flex for anyone to see. Stepping out, the rich guy extends his hand and tells the kid to follow him inside without fear. With his feet on the stone ground, our MC hears from the Lord that his life of humiliation is gone forever. Right after, a heavy warning drops, reminding him that in this snake pit, the rule is survival of the fittest. Showing no weakness, the kid faces the challenge head-on, totally ready for whatever comes his way. Turning his back, the big shot drops the harsh truth, saying he won't give any more freebies or help once they pass the gate. Cold with his words, the old man makes it clear that passing the next test is entirely on the rookie's shoulders. Confident in his own talent, our hero just nods, confirming he understands the rules of the game perfectly. In a challenging tone, the Marquis pushes all his chips in, betting big on the kid. Facing the mansion doors, our MC smiles, concluding that phase 1 of his infiltration plan was a total success. In our MC's head plays a whole documentary about the Hall family, with its nobles obsessed with blood purity and arranged marriages. Right after, he focuses on Marquis Darius's backstory, viewed as an outcast for being the son of a common servant and the former lord. Remembered as a reject, the old man suffered all kinds of bullying and prejudice inside his own home when he was a kid. But even with the world against him, the guy trained like a demon and crushed all his rivals until he became the toughest force in the territory. At the end of the day, he didn't just take power by force, he became the absolute lord and a living legend across the empire. While walking down the fancy hallway, the Marquis says he couldn't care less about the kid's slave background. With steady steps, the Lord makes it clear that in this house, the past means nothing if you're not a certified badass. Flashing a confident smile, the big shot guarantees that inside these walls, raw power is the only thing making the rules. Facing the kid, the rich guy promises to give him anything if he proves his worth. Wealth, status, or even honor. With a quick gesture, our hero raises his hand, cutting the old man's offer short and grabbing his attention. Without beating around the bush, the kid flips the question, wanting to know just how far this limitless reward really goes. Super surprised by the attitude, the Marquis lets out a little smirk and tells the kid to name his price. Totally focused, the MC picks up the pace, confirming he heard the promise of getting literally anything loud and clear. With a deadly stare, he drops the bomb, asking what would happen if he wanted the Marquis's own lord's seat. Instantly, the maids in the hall widen their eyes and drop their trays, completely shocked by the insane audacity. Paralyzed for a second, the Marquis repeats the kid's bold words, unable to believe he heard a demand for his crown correctly. But out of nowhere, the old man lets out a monstrous laugh that echoes through the entire mansion, finding the gutsiness absolutely fantastic. Laughing like a maniac, he says if the kid has that much confidence, then he should come try and take his spot by force. Watching the scene, our MC mentally concludes the Lord really is a guy who only respects power and merit above all else. However, the kid knows damn well that this equal opportunity mindset draws pure hatred from the pure, blood fanatic nobles. With the latter still ringing in the hall, the vibe suddenly gets heavy, cutting the celebration short. Immediately, the Marquis's expression flips from joy to a dead, tense silence. Right in front of them appears Countess Katrina Williams, the Lord's wife, standing next to his oldest son, Freed Hall. Walking slowly down the carpet, the witch greets her husband cynically and says she was waiting for his return. Frowning, the Lord asks dryly which little gossip bird spread the news of their arrival so fast. Taking a drag from her fancy pipe, the snob plays dumb, saying rumors run wild through the mansion's halls. Refusing to back down, the Marquis mutters that he's certain he's being watched by spies in his own house. Totally aware of the poison in the air, our boy instantly recognizes the Countess as the true viper ruling the shadows of that family. Mentally, the hero recalls that in the chaotic future, it was exactly this woman who caused the Lord's downfall, trying to crush his ideals. Even as the second wife, she runs everything and plans to put her spoiled son Freed in power no matter what, just to keep the bloodline pure. Looking back at his past, our hero realizes he fell right into this woman's trap and got screwed over in his previous life. But this time, with an arrogant smile, the kid swears the script is going to be way different, and he's not taking any crap from a rich snob. Interrupting the tense little scene, the kid steps up and loudly introduces himself as Colin Hall, the newest family member. Instantly, the preppy here's eyes go wide, stuttering as he hears a slave using his sacred last name. Furious, the rich kid steps forward, acting all tough and asking who the heck this sewer rat thinks he is. Beside him, the witch totally loses her cool, demanding to know how a piece of human garbage dares taint the Hall family name. Without needing to say much, she just gives a sharp snap of her fingers and nods to her personal butler. Getting the memo, the suited goon charges right at our MC to teach him some manners with a be it down. Keeping his chill, the Marquis doesn't move a muscle, wanting to see how the kid handles this first home trial. With an insane reflex, the kid pulls the hilt of his old sword before the butler even gets close. In a clean sweep, the blade cuts the air and stops inches from the goon's neck, freezing the guy in fear on the spot. Pointing the weapon in the middle of the group, the kid stares down the Countess and asks if she has any objections to her own husband's orders. Full of himself, the MC openly declares that one day he'll be the lord of this place and tells everyone to kneel and burn that into their memory. Totally speechless, the snob glares her venomous eyes at the kid, analyzing his suicidal boldness. Foaming at the mouth, the preppy hair trembles, grinding his teeth, unable to handle the humiliation of being challenged by a slave in his own home. Letting out a discreet chuckle, the Marquis tries to hide how satisfied he is with the whole mess the rookie just started. Down the halls, the staff whispers in shock about the kid's arrogance, catching everyone's attention. The gossiping maids also panic, repeating the hero's words like it's the biggest blasphemy in the world. Cutting through the noise, the Countess gives a loud, dry cough, pulling all the attention back to her. Instantly, the goons and maids gulp hard and snap to attention, terrified of the witch's fury. With a curious look, our MC waits for the rich lady's next verbal strike. Letting out a sigh of disdain, the Viper finally decides to open her mouth, unleashing her built-up venom. In a tone heavy with pure hate, she decrees that a filthy slave shouldn't even have the right to speak near her. In that same second, several guards and maids draw their spears and swords, shifting into attack formation against the kid. Screaming their lungs out, the armed ladies charge forward, ordering the cocky kid's immediate capture. But before the first strike lands, the Marquis rolls a weight that literally makes the mansion walls shake. Quickly, the Lord steps in front of the kid, raising his hand and stopping the house battalion in their tracks. In a calm but threatening tone, he drops the bomb, saying everything Colin said is the absolute truth and has his seal of approval. Shocked, with a vein popping on his forehead, the preppy son yells, unable to accept his own dad's insanity. Desperate, the rich kid asks what kind of sick joke it is to put a beggar in the family's line of succession. Standing his ground, the Marquis doesn't give a damn about his son's whining and keeps a heavy expression. With a fake, poisonous smile, the Countess interrupts the fight, saying she already understands her husband's madness. Closing her eyes to plot her next strike, she pretends to agree with the Lord's crazy decision in a super suspicious way. In a cynical speech, the witch points out that the staff works themselves to the bone here and rarely ever earn the sacred family name. Blaming tradition, she throws the guilt on the kid, saying a beggar can't just show up and demand the title without earning it. Pulling the strings, the snob sets the perfect trap to screw over the rookie's life, fair and square. Without stalling, the Countess proposes a direct challenge, claiming nobody will accept the kid if he doesn't prove his worth first. Staring the Lord down, the Viper asks if he'd be willing to put his newest prodigy through a trial by fire. Thinking the idea is reasonable, the Marquis agrees, saying the kid needs to prove his strength to shut everyone in the house up. Showing zero fear, our hero already knew this challenge was coming and accepts the bet with a confident smirk. Laughing in the face of danger, the kid mocks them, saying a silly little test is just a waste of his time. Foaming with fury, the spoiled hare yells, asking if the filthy slave is scared to fail the trial. Looking deep into the rich kid's eyes, our MC throws the question back, wanting to know why the heck he'd take the test alone. Full of boldness, the kid suggests the family title goes to whoever wins the challenge, regardless of being a blood son or not. With teeth gritted in pure hate, the preppy hare feels the humiliation crush his ego and swears to take out the insolent rookie. Frozen in place, the preppy hare imagines the nightmare of having to dirty his hands competing against the riffraff for the Lord title. Sweating cold, he boils with rage underneath that superior pose, feeling his pride shatter. Tapping lightly on his shoulder, the Countess tries to calm her spoiled son before he loses it completely. In a calm, venomous voice, she reminds him that a true noble should never lose their cool or class around peasants. With a cold smile, the witch tells the rich kid to swallow his anger and not stoop to the level of a dirty monkey. Full of confidence, she whispers in the hare's ear that the absolute magic he holds is the real guarantee of victory. Satisfied with the mess he made, our kid just watches the Viper try to keep her little boy in line. Choking back tears, the preppy kid agrees with his mom and snaps his snobby pose right back into place. Cut to a sunny day, the Marquis has officially accepted the challenge and set the succession trial for exactly 1 month from now. While walking through the mansion gardens, our MC goes over the plan in his head, knowing he's gonna have to grind as a low-level servant until then. But smirking, he finds this humiliation perfect, since he'll have plenty of free time to explore the grimoire without the VIPs breathing down his neck. Suddenly, a dragging voice interrupts his thoughts, praising the rookie's skill at manipulating the Marquis. Turning his head, the kid comes face to face with a suspicious servant making small talk in a really shady way. The guy tests the waters, saying he thought the kid was some hand-picked prodigy brought in by a noble from the capital. Keeping his cool, our hero instantly realizes this dude is a spy sent by the Lord's enemies. Keeping up the small talk, the spy says it's a huge coincidence such a talent popped up right when the Lord was looking for a strong hare. Showing no emotion, our MC listens to the guy's conspiracy theory, clearly knowing he's fishing for info. To the spy's surprise, the kid presses his sword blade right against his neck in a move so fast he couldn't even blink. Pinned against the wall, the lackey freezes when the kid calls him Effer Cornell, proving he already knew exactly who he was. With his eyes wide, the spy can't understand how the filthy slave knows his name, since they've never met. Flashing an ironic smile, the hero explains he busted the fake merchants the spy paid to lie about his power level. According to the rigged gossip, the slave was supposed to be just an average fighter to fool the Marquis and the Colosseum gamblers. But in reality, our warrior recalls that the Empire divides strength into clear tiers for fighters and mages. Normally, the vast majority of warriors get stuck at the beginner tier, and only a minority reach intermediate or beyond. But to join the elite Divine Guard, the absolute minimum requirement is mastering the advanced tier. Pressing the blade closer, the kid asks if the spy really thought the elite squad would back down from fighting some intermediate chump. Totally cornered, the lackey realizes the idiot flaw in the disinformation plan he cooked up. Straight up, the kid tells the spy that if he were really an enemy spy, he wouldn't be drawing so much attention trying to become Lord. Confused and sweating cold, the goon asks where the rookie is going with all this talk. In a genius move, our MC explains that a spy's true goal is always to aim for the weakest link in the enemy's chain. Holding his free hand out, the kid says if he were a real spy, he'd aim straight for the head butler jig. Shocked by the audacity, Cornell points at his own chest, asking if the dirty slave is trying to steal his job. Smiling wickedly, the kid explains that as head butler, it'd be way easier to spy on the Marquis's weaknesses without causing a scene. Laying out the final pitch, the hero suggests a dirty deal where the goon uses his butler influence to snitch on other spies for him. Quickly, the lackey understands that if he takes the blackmail, he'll be picking a fight with the entire nobility behind the Lord's back. Full of smooth talk, the MC hits him with the truth, saying you gotta bet big to win big without fearing the danger. He warns that if the Marquis falls, there'll be no one left to inherit the throne, and the territory will collapse, dragging the butler down with it. Cornered, the goon analyzes the risky offer, suspecting the kid has a much darker plan up his sleeve. Swallowing his pride, Cornell lowers his head and tells the kid to follow him to the peasant barracks. With a cynical smile, our hero realizes he managed to put a leash on the mansion's most dangerous spy right off the bat. Cutting to the outside of the palace, the two walk toward the ugliest, most remote buildings on the property. Pointing at the stone barracks, the head butler says the rookie slave can pick any hole he wants to sleep in. On the way, the kid's memory reminds him the house has 3 levels of servants, with the top tier kissing up to the royal family inside the mansion. The middle ones bust their humps, cleaning the fancy dirt in the main halls and are allowed in the inner area with the lady of the house. Meanwhile, the bottom of the pyramid is the scum who live isolated and are banned from stepping near the palace gates no matter what. Showing absolutely zero respect, the butler explains the rookie's job here will be scooping horse crap and chopping wood all day long. To cap off the humiliation, he warns that the newly arrived trash needs to show blind obedience to the older servants in the shed. With a cold expression, our boy repeats the word obedience, keeping the message filed in his memory. Walking into the dark, stinky barracks, the kid runs straight into a circle of sweaty brutes, looking ready to start a fight. Laughing out loud, the veterans look at the skinny kid like he's a piece of fresh meat tossed into a lion's den. Sneaking away, the butler makes it clear these are the Countess's rules and leaves the hero right there with the pack. With a little smirk, Cornell is totally sure the riffraff will handle the Marquis's prodigy in no time. Going over the witch's words, the MC mutters to himself that he fully gets the dirty game of trying to break him from the bottom up. Without backing up a step, he thumps his chest and introduces himself casually to the Neanderthals in the room. Being totally fake, he flashes a friendly smile and says he's super hyped to work together with the guys. Instantly, the group bursts out laughing, pointing right in the kid's face and heavily mocking his name. The gang leader steps up full of swagger, sarcastically greeting the Empire's future Grand Lord. Shoving the kid, the brute mentions that the gossip about him stepping up to the boss lady, and the hair has already spread through the whole staff. Showing off, the other veteran promises he's gonna teach the snobby kid the house manners to bring him down a notch. In a flash, one of the guys smashes a glass bottle, getting a makeshift weapon ready to slice the rookie's face. With the broken glass in hand, the attacker tells the kid to get on his knees and repeat how happy he is to work there while slapping his own face. Grabbing the kid's collar, the gang leader squeezes tight, wanting to see the desperation in the rookie's eyes. Never dropping the cynical smile, our MC says that if he already gets the rules, they better stop stalling. And with a brutal and relentless move, the kid delivers a deafening headbutt right to the middle of the bully's nose. Caught completely by surprise, his buddy's eyes widen, stuttering in disbelief at the lightning-fast damage. Sent flying backward with a busted face, the leader crashes to the floor like an old sack of potatoes. While the big guy rolls around groaning in pain, the kid doesn't miss a beat or drop his focused psycho expression. Raising his arm, he preps his payback, ready to teach them how you really throw a warm welcome party. Like a machine, he brings his hand down in a monstrous slap that nearly takes off the head of the attacker holding the broken bottle. Swinging without mercy, he repeats the same fake line about being hyped to work while smashing the idiot's faces one by one. Driven mad with rage, the other two brutes charge and screaming they're gonna finish the wannabe lord right there. Grabbing a piece of a wooden chair, the big guy charges blindly, aiming for our kid's head to wrap up the job. Cold and completely fearless, the proto's eye gleams as he spots the colossal opening in the amateur's guard. Running purely on reflex, he draws his own sword, prepping the counterattack before the chair even gets close. With a dull thud, the kid uses the weapon's hilt and sends the two idiots flying with a perfect double strike. Landing a direct hit, the kid smashes the brute's face with the sword hilt, making blood spray. With a perfect leap, our hero drives his knee straight into the other attacker's face. Shattering the loser's teeth, the brutal impact makes the big guy roar in pain, falling backward. Sent flying by the hit, the lackey crashes hard into some crates, wrecking the whole scene. Panicking, the last tough guy backs off, cursing his own luck seeing his buddies laid out. Quickly, the blade is already pressed against the coward's face, making him sweat cold in terror. With a total psycho stare, our MC asks super calmly if the welcoming party was satisfying enough. Trembling from head to toe, the big guy bawls, yelling that he's more than satisfied. Pleased with the answer, The kid puts his weapon away and warns them they'd better really get the message. Tossed on the floor, one of the defeated guys mumbles curses while spitting blood. Right then, our hero's hand grabs the neck of the broken bottle off the ground. With a freaky reflex, he turns his head right as the coward tries a sneak attack, screaming like a madman. Dodging by a thread, the kid just takes a deep breath without dropping his stance. Without an ounce of pity, the warrior slices the air and chops the backstabber's arm right off in a clean hit. Soon, the amputated limb drops to the floor, splashing blood everywhere and marking the end of the brawl. Sheathing his sword with style, our MC completely ignores the agonizing screams of the one-armed lackey. Turning his head, he asks again, full of sarcasm, if the crew is finally satisfied. In his mind, the plan to tame the spy butler was a success, but the danger in the mansion is still huge. Locked onto his goal, the kid mutters, booting up the magic grimoire to kick off his secret training. Floating in front of him, the ancient book glows while the hero decides he needs to master magic to survive. Flashbacks from the past show the Viper Countess swapping out all the house staff for goons loyal to her. That's exactly why the Lord put Butler Cornell in charge, to try and keep the snob's claws in check. On top of everything, the spy had the insane power to veto anyone trying to become the family successor. Except in his past life, the butler kicked the bucket way too early, leaving a clear path for the witch to take over everything. With his demise, the Countess manipulated everyone and put her spoiled little boy straight on the Lord's throne. Snapping back to the present, the kid sighs in relief for saving Cornell's skin, totally changing the future. Stretching his hand out, the MC concentrates his energy, knowing that just having magic resistance won't do squat in a real fight. With a burst of light, the kid fires a spell into the air, testing the new powers he sucked from the grimoire. Feeling his brain fry, he grits his teeth as the book's knowledge invades his mind all at once. Totally paralyzed, the hero reports an absurd pain, feeling like his whole body is being dunked in pure lava. Just then, the system's voice echoes in his head, while a demonic silhouette starts taking shape in the magic aura. Hovering in the air, the dark entity whispers sinister orders of destruction and total domination over everything. Drenched in sweat, the kid feels his body's limit, thinking this is the messed up price for using real magic. Suddenly, a memory pops up of a girl from the past, saying that training magic was just closing your eyes and feeling the energy flow. Flashing an ironic smile, our warrior mocks the ridiculous gap between noble talent and peasant grinding. Pumped full of adrenaline, his gaze shifts to pure ecstasy, finding the pain of training to be the most exciting thing in the world. Sparks of pure energy start crackling around the kid's hands, proving he's getting the hang of it. Swallowed by a tornado of dark power, the MC swears at the top of his lungs that he's gonna master this power no matter what. Focused on the mission, the hero's eye gleams with the promise of not backing down a single millimeter. Outside the shed, a roar of pure limit, breaking effort tears through the silent night, scaring anyone walking by. By early morning, cold water from a bucket washes the sweaty face of our warrior after an all-nighter awake. Soon, the barracks brutes stare at the kid, still scared to death from last night's damage. With a firm step, the kid strolls out into the courtyard, not giving a damn about the loser's presence. Sighing in relief, one of the veterans confesses he didn't sleep a wink, thinking he'd get sliced up in his sleep. Hearing it all from afar, our hero gives a cynical smirk, knowing that if he wanted to eliminate them, there wouldn't even be dust left. Looking at the glowing panel, the kid sees he finally hit the beginner tier in ice, focused magic. Full of pride, the MC celebrates his successful night training that almost fried his brain. Atching all over, he decides to hunt down some good grub to refill his spent energy. Out in the main courtyard of the servant village, an authoritative shout orders everyone to clear the way by force. Immediately, the servants bow their heads, trembling in fear as metal boots march across the stone floor. Leading the squad, the Divine Guard captain yells, cursing out the peasants and demanding absolute respect. Right in the chaos, a lackey carrying a heavy barrel walks distracted, not seeing the danger coming. In a fatal mistake, the poor guy bumps straight into the elite squad, dropping his cargo on the ground. Without a second thought, one of the guards delivers a monstrous kick to the servant's chest, throwing the poor dude far away. Making things worse, water from the broken barrel splashes, dirtying the suited captain's polished boot. Staring at the dirty shoe, the troop leader makes a disgusted face, like he just stepped in crap. Drawing his sword, the bootlicker soldier already orders the peasant's execution on the spot for daring to dirty the boss. Tossed on the ground, the lackey cries desperately, begging for his life and saying it was an accident. In a fake gesture of kindness, the bald captain stops his subordinate, acting like he's gonna forgive the accident. Crying with relief, the servant thanks the heavens while the bald guy cracks a sinister smile of pure sadism. Suddenly, the captain changes his tone, dropping a however that chills everyone's spine. With his hand on the poor guy's face, the villain says that if his eyes are useless for watching where he goes, he'll fix that. Brutally, the monster jabs his fingers in and gouges the lackey's eyes, making the whole courtyard echo with screams of pure agony. In total shock, The other servants turn their heads, lacking the guts to move a muscle to help. Ticked off, the guard's lackey yells, demanding to know why the scum are still staring at them. With a shout, the troop terrorizes the courtyard, ordering everyone to their knees, but our hero stays standing like a statue. Facing the cocky kid, the soldier freezes in anger while the kid ignores everything, only thinking about breakfast. Desperate about the audacity, the one-armed brute from the barracks yells, calling for the Divine Guard leader. Pointing his finger at our MC, the goon snitches, saying that's the jerk who chopped off his hand last night. Immediately, the bald captain's gaze locks onto our hero with brutal killer intent. With a roar, the guard boss demands the kid's attention while they start closing in. Giving his usual cynical smile, the MC mocks him, asking if the suit wants to lose his hands as a bonus too. With blood on his fingers, the bald villain finds the slave swagger funny and promises to break his pose. Sword in hand, the captain throws out the eye for an eye rule, telling the kid to chop off his own arm or they'll do the job. Without blinking, our hero draws his old blade, announcing that now he's the one giving these jerks a choice. Staring the captain down, our boy asks with pure sarcasm if he'd rather lose his arm or his head. Letting out a loud laugh, the bald villain mocks him, saying the elite don't dirty their hands with the riffraff. Soon, the suit points to the side, ordering some random lackey to take out the trash for him. In that instant, our MC's look completely changes as he recognizes the guy who just got called up. Stepping out of the shadows comes Dak, a brutal former arena champion who now serves as a mid-level guard. Totally surprised, the MC thinks it's completely insane to run into the guy in a place like this. Memories flood his mind of the crazy fights where they survived together, fighting back in the bloody Colosseum. Beyond the war, the warrior even recalls the rare board game matches they played in prison to kill time. Together, they had taken down colossal monsters and shared the weight of that miserable gladiator life. Snapping back to reality, the hero notices his buddy is all beaten up by the guards and mutters his name in disbelief. Gripping the sword hilt tight, the kid asks in disbelief if the former champ is really going to fight like an obedient lapdog for the nobility. With his head down, the fighter just replies that the house rule is the bottom obeys the middle, and nobody can break that cursed cycle. Disgusted by the submission, the kid throws it in his face that his buddy is being used. But the guy shoots back saying a peasant has no right to complain. With blood in his eyes, the ex-gladiator warns that whoever breaks the laws gets punished, and charges in full throttle. Running on pure reflex, our boy dodges the fatal strike, letting out a little smirk seeing the predictable rush. Like an out-of-control bull, Dak unleashes absurd slashes, tearing the wind without giving an inch of breathing room. Focused on the mission, the brute shows he's absolutely not taking it easy on his old arena partner. From the VIP spot, the one-eyed captain gives a sadistic smile, loving watching the big dogs brawl in the courtyard. But in an impossible move, our warrior disarms the big guy, promising to smash those disgusting rules into 1,000 pieces. Completely shocked, the guard's eyes widen, not understanding how the kid snatched the weapon so fast. Even the ex-champ freezes in place, baffled by the monstrous speed of the kid he thought he knew. The realization hits the fighter as he sees he was outclassed in the blink of an eye in a totally humiliating way. Ticked off, the one-eyed guy yells his lungs out, asking if the trash knows who he's messing with. Full of himself, the suit brags, saying he's personally protected by the hair freed, and challenging the guard is signing a death warrant. Slowly, our MC's gaze darkens while the entire squad draws their blades to surround the target. Before anyone can even breathe, the hero simply vanishes and reappears with his sword glued to the arrogant leader's neck. Sweating cold, the coward tries to maintain his tough act, warning that taking out an officer won't come cheap at all. Taking advantage of the distraction, the villain gives a smirk while his goons prep a cowardly sneak attack behind the kid's back. With evil grins, the soldiers are already swinging their weapons down, certain they're gonna dice the rookie into little pieces. But out of nowhere, the big guy jumps in front and takes all the hits, tearing his own back open with an agonizing scream of pain. Totally stunned, our MC widens his eyes, seeing the brutal sacrifice of the friend who just saved his skin. Letting out a sick laugh, the one-eyed captain says he really needed to teach these insubordinate lapdogs a harsh lesson. Tossed on the stone floor, the ex-gladiator bleeds heavily, his back totally sliced up by enemy blades. With a violent yank, a soldier rips his sword out of the big guy's body, calling the poor dude useless trash. Without a single drop of pity, the coward grabs the wounded fighter by the hair to humiliate the guy, even more in front of everyone. With a sadistic smile, the goon tells the kid to pay close attention to what happens to those who disobey the elite. Taken over by pure fury, our hero cracks the ground, taking off at a speed bordering on teleportation. Instantly, the soldier's pupils dilate as he feels the Grim Reaper flying through the air straight toward him. Like a lightning bolt, the kid unleashes a devastating slash, sending the scumbag flying into a pool of blood. Thinking he found the perfect opening to attack, the villain captain flashes a victorious, evil smile. Cowardly, the one guy raises his weapon to stab the kid in the back, who seemed totally distracted. But with a bizarre reflex, the warrior blocks the attack from behind using the blade without even needing to look at the enemy. In total shock, the guard leader freezes in place, feeling the monstrous strength of the perfect block. Desperate, the suit tries to pull his own sword back, but the weapon doesn't budge a single centimeter. Spinning his body, our MC points his steel at the trash's neck, who starts begging and stuttering for him to stop the attack. Pale with terror, the one-eyed guy feels the cold edge of demise pressed against his own throat, waiting for the final cut. Suddenly, a colossal magic explosion blasts the guards away, saving the boss from getting eliminated by a hair. With the field cleared, our warrior's gaze locks straight onto his busted partner on the dirty ground. Out of strength, the big guy finally collapses, his face hitting the stone with a dull, heavy thud. Even destroyed, the ex-gladiator pulls out a blade and points it at the hero, telling him not to commit any more crimes in here, so he doesn't get screwed. Then the camera focuses on the fighter's trembling hand, still gushing fresh blood between his fingers. Getting the message, the kid lowers his head, realizing his friend's sad, desperate move to try and protect him. Full of coldness, the kid tosses his sword aside and tells the captain he'll let this beef slide, just for his injured buddy's sake. In a bossy tone, the MC orders the soldiers to get out of his face right now before he changes his mind. Outraged, he asks the brute why the heck he takes beatings quietly when he's way stronger than those disgusting lapdogs. Wounded, the big guy fires back hard, saying he owes zero explanations to some insolent guy who already has one foot in the grave. With a slow, painful motion, the fighter drops the weapon on the ground, giving up on that fake dramatic threat. Quickly, our hero catches the blade in mid-air and tosses it back to his friend, warning him that walking around unarmed is bad luck. Turning his back, the kid walks away, leaving his old partner alone in the middle of the armed mess. Right after, the cowardly captain grabs the big guy from behind and dunks his face in a water barrel, screaming humiliating insults. Trapped in the water, the poor fighter thrashes around, desperately trying to gasp for air, while the boss squeezes hard. With a violent pull, the villain lifts his face up, spitting rage while the poor guy apologizes, coughing up gallons of water. With a cowardly kick, the one-eyed guy kicks the prota's partner away, telling the trash to get out of his sight immediately. Soon, a goon questions quietly if they're really gonna let the cocky rookie walk away scot free from all that embarrassment. Full of malice, the boss orders them to spread the rumor that the kid declared all-out war on the elite, just to isolate the poor guy in the palace. Tossed to the side, the brute just sheds a silent tear, feeling the weight of the humiliation crushing his soul. From far away, our MC watches everything hidden, dwelling on why his buddy won't fight back against those worms. Suddenly, the scene cuts, showing a gross mouth chewing food with the absolute worst table manners possible. At a giant table loaded with absurd feasts, the high-ranking servants eat like kings, their bellies stuffed with perks. Totally hypocritical, these suited servants thank the supreme god for this luxurious life funded by the Lord. Right next to them, some maids gossip and laugh about dreams of getting promoted and working harder, so the lady of the house finally notices them. Meanwhile, out in the dirty dirt courtyard, the scum from the barracks say the exact same prayer to God in a totally depressing way. Except the riffraff's meal is a disgusting, watery slop that looks like old wash meant for a sick pig. In a pathetic line, the exhausted workers hold out their bowls to get their daily ration in pure misery. Walking slowly, our hero finally reaches the front of the cauldron, holding his own wooden bowl to try and fill his stomach. Humming happily, our kid strolls casually through the barracks, focused only on getting his grub on after his insane workout. But halfway there, he notices a ton of weird stares burning holes into his back. The second he leans against the table to grab a bowl of food, the drama kicks off. In a cowardly attack, a brute dumps the entire pot of slop right on top of the kid, yelling that whoever doesn't work doesn't eat. Around them, the crowd of lapdogs snickers, finding the rookie's staged humiliation in the dirt courtyard funny. With zero stress, our hero just cracks his neck, realizing the total isolation order was already in full swing. Ignoring the circle of idiots, he turns his back and starts walking out of the barracks, leaving the guys confused. One of the big guys yells, telling him to stop, demanding to know where the trash thinks he's going with all that attitude. Chest puffed out, the warrior marches right through the circle of idiots, telling everyone to move out of the way with zero respect. In complete panic, the mid-tier maids scream for the authorities to do something about that arrogant slave, but keeping a steady pace, our MC keeps walking straight toward the main mansion, and without asking anyone's permission, he grabs a massive loaf of bread from the fancy table and shoves it in his mouth with joy. Taking a monstrous bite, he rubs it in everyone's face that if the elite eats here, then he's eating here too. Desperate, one of the suited rich guys yells for the head butler to step in and teach the kid a lesson before the countess sees. Deep down, the spy butler freezes, closing his eyes to ignore the mess his boss just caused in front of the top-tier nobility. Sweating cold, Butler Cornell tries to put out the fire with apologies and pulls the kid aside to prevent further chaos. Watching the scene, the suits grumble in disgust, thinking it's absurd the slave didn't get an immediate beatdown. Once outside the luxury mansion, the spy can't hold it back and asks if the kid forgot the #1 rule of blind obedience. Laughing with his mouth full, our hero mocks him, saying obedience doesn't fill an empty stomach. Chewing the stolen bread, he reminds the butler that Marquis Lord said he'd reward strength with good food. Switching topics, the goon adjusts his suit and says he'll accept the Dirty Alliance deal offered earlier. Without beating around the bush, the spy promises to cover the kid's tracks and protect his daily life in the mansion in exchange for a huge favor. With a gaze heavy with tension, he reveals the impossible mission of finding a traitor infiltrated inside the Hall family itself. Right then, a loud, heavy trumpet blast echoes off the castle walls, cutting the air like an urgent warning. The butler quickly explains that it's the signal for the emergency hunt in the dark forest to investigate deadly anomalies. Chewing the last bit of bread, our MC swallows the info and starts cooking up a dangerous plan. Flashing a sly smile, he figures out this mess in the forest could be the perfect loophole to vanish from the Countess's radar. Cutting the scene to the middle of the dense woods, a gigantic shadow of a demonic deer tears through the fog in the blink of an eye. Instantly, a hail of crossfire arrows flies straight at the creature, burying into its dark skin. With a terrifying screech, the monster collapses, kicking up dust and bleeding heavily, proving the hunt was already intense. Stepping out of the bushes with a mocking smile, our kid celebrates the perfect kill like a top-tier hunter. Walking over the dry leaves, he approaches the monstrous body to check out the hunting loot. With a cold move, the kid drives his dagger straight into the beast's chest, tearing the carcass open with force. At that exact moment, his eye gleams, seeing the magic core overflowing with pure purple energy. Yanking the bloody jewel from the deer's chest, he analyzes the stone, knowing that in the past, this would just be an ornament for a rich guy's necklace. But now, with the overpowered grimoire as help, he realizes these cores can be refined into insane potions and buffs. Checking out the floating energy panel, he confirms this low-level pebble is perfect for testing a basic mana potion. A quick flashback cuts to the butler's shocked face when the kid asked for permission to enter the Forest of Doom. Full of himself, our MC had convinced the spy, claiming that as a guard lackey, he'd have no restrictions hunting with the Lord's squad. But back in the present, his chill vibe ends when someone yells, grabbing his attention in the middle of the woods. Turning his head, he comes face to face with the ex-champ Dak, furious and calling the kid a dumb amateur. Keeping his calm, the kid notices his partner is still totally wrapped in bandages and can barely stand. Desperate, the big guy rushes forward, wanting to drag the kid back out of the red danger zone. With a clean reflex, our warrior draws his sword and tells the brute to quit the drama and get to work if he wants to live. Completely lost by the reversed orders, the fighter blinks hard, not understanding why the rookie slave is bossing an officer around. Stabbing his sword into the ground hard, our kid ignores his buddy's confused face and takes charge of the place. Pointing at the monster on the ground, he announces with absolute coldness that this is their new prey. Blinded by rage at the audacity, the brute yells that the kid's logic is a joke and they need to fall back. Grumbling to himself, the ex-champ complains that the butler must have lost his mind putting him on a mission with an absolutely crazy rookie. But staring at the dead black monster on the ground, even he realizes things are serious and the kid has talent. Clearing up the confusion, the kid shows Cornell's dagger, proving he has an official mission and isn't just messing around. The kid lies smoothly, saying the order was to investigate anomalies on the Marquis's hunt and score them some decent food in the woods as a bonus. Muttering about his bad luck, the brute accepts the situation while pouring a healing potion over his own wounds. Sighing heavily, the warrior decides to swallow his pride and focus on the mission, since complaining wouldn't change a thing anyway. In a quick cut, the scene shows several huge chunks of bloody meat perfectly sliced up in the middle of the camp. Finishing adjusting his armor, the partner walks away, grumbling about proving his own worth on this mission. Suddenly, his nose catches the scent of something that definitely shouldn't be happening in the middle of nowhere. And when he turns around, he finds the kid roasting juicy chunks of monster meat over a massive campfire, like he's on a picnic. In full-blown panic, the brute yells, asking if the kid has lost his mind making a fire in a monster zone. On top of the risk, the guy throws it in his face that all this meat is supposed to be delivered to the royal family bosses as a trophy. Chewing meat with his mouth full, our MC doesn't even blink and says there's plenty of beasts around, so eating a little piece won't hurt. With zero shame, he holds out a juicy piece of roasted monster right in his furious partner's face. Trying to keep up his tough guy act, the big guy shoves his arm away, calling the kid a lunatic with no respect for the rules. Laughing like a psycho, our warrior rubs the irony in the brute's face, an unarmed hero getting beat up by a cowardly officer. Provoking him hard, he says it makes no sense taking beatings silently just to earn the right to eat stinky rations every 3 days. Bringing the delicious meat closer to his partner's nose, the kid asks how a guard is supposed to protect the Lord on an empty stomach. With an ironic smile, he promises he won't snitch about the crime of eating elite food if the big guy cuts the drama. Defeated by hunger, the ex-champ grabs the roasted meat on reflex, unable to fight his own instincts. Falling to his knees on the dirt floor, the warrior cries, scarfing down the food in desperation like he hasn't eaten in weeks. Watching his friend's humiliation, our MC questions why such a talented monster of a guy stoops so low to serve those lapdogs. Chewing with a frown, the fighter shoots the question down, saying raw strength doesn't change a rigged world. Totally brainwashed, the Brood explains that the elite are seen as divine, and the riffraff have to suffer in silence to prove their blind devotion to God. Caught in that heavy illusion, he says his goal is to climb the slave ladder to give a better life to his little sister who lives far away in the middle of nowhere. Ticked off, the partner yells, asking if the kid is telling him to throw his whole family's dreams in the trash over some stupid pride. Clenching his fists in anger, the warrior drops the truth that being a slave is the only way, and trying to fight the big shots is certain suicide. Widening his eyes, our kid mocks him, asking what's so special about this so-called divine power. Flashing a mocking smile, he solves the riddle, throwing it in the big guy's face that it's nothing more than using a little bit of fake magic. Annoyed by the blasphemy, the warrior doubts the kid can cast any spell at all, and tells him to prove his theory. Full of swagger, our hero asks what his partner would do if he taught real magic to the riffraff, so they could fight on equal footing. Completely shocked, the brute freezes in place, stuttering in disbelief that the rookie is actually serious. Right then, an absurd crack snaps a branch on a giant tree, grabbing both of their attention. With a loud crash, the wood falls, kicking up dust and scaring the birds in the dark forest. Sweating cold, the partners look toward the noise, realizing the heavy hunt was way closer than they thought. Cutting the scene to a soldier, he screams in pain as his shoulder is torn open by sharp fangs. Nearby, a gray-haired captain screams desperate orders, trying to hold the squad's defensive line against a pack of blue fire wolves. Seeing them getting cornered, the veteran sweats buckets and curses his own luck, while the monsters press in without mercy. Another lackey goes down screaming and covered in blood, cementing the fact that the entire squad was about to become hellhound dinner. Pinned against the shield wall, the captain grits his teeth, admitting he severely underestimated the beasts of that anomaly. But suddenly a clean, glowing slash cuts through the wind, decapitating a wolf mid-lethal jump. Looking to the side, the gray-haired guy widens his eyes as he sees the rookie tearing through the enemy line like it's nothing. Soon, a warning shout echoes from the back of the troop, pointing at more fire wolves leaping through the forest sky. In a flash, the gray-haired leader feels a chill down his spine, realizing the beasts had already broken through their rear defense. With a pure insane reflex, arrows fly, piercing the wolves' heads before they even hit the ground. Landing firmly after his jump, our kid readies his bow, showing he's arrived to clean up the mess. Coming right behind him, the big guy points his spear and announces that the rescue cavalry just clocked in. With a predator's gaze, our hero calculates the weight of this crazy hunt and decides to get his hands dirty. In his mind, the grimoire taught him that the blue flames, meat, and bones of these beasts are worth a fortune on the black market. Knocking his arrows 3 at a time, he warns his buddies he won't let a single wolf escape alive. And with a violent leap, the kid launches himself into the pack like a human rocket. Shooting in midair, he nails the monsters right in the eye with an accuracy that's downright scary to watch. Impressed, the gray-haired captain mutters in awe, watching the kid throw himself into the beasts in a kamikaze move. Smiling at the danger, our hero figures out that these wolves are all smoke and only fight in packs. With a barrage of crisscrossing arrows, the warrior sends the pack packing, proving none of them stand a chance one-on-one. Wrapping up the horror show, the kid hits the ground rolling while holstering the bow on his back. Flashing a psycho smile, he draws his sword, confirming the long-range warm-up is over and now it's time for close combat. Charging in with his chest puffed out, the warrior draws his blade at the very last second to avoid a massive wolf's flaming bite. Dodging by a hair, he finds it bizarre how the beasts keep attacking like maniacs, even after seeing their entire family wiped out. Spinning his body, our MC buries the steel into the beast's stomach, cutting its attack short with an absurd impact. In the backline, the surviving guards are in shock, stuttering as they witness the kid's monstrous strength up close. With its face torn open by an arrow, one of the last wolves whines, trying to retreat from the massacre. The kid doesn't show any mercy and coldly mutters that at the end of the day, they're just a bunch of dumb mutts. Taking the opening, the pack attacks from all sides, thinking they've cornered their prey. With a perfect spin, the hero's sword dances in the air, slicing the beast in half before its jaws can snap shut. Drooling over the scene, the gray-haired captain can't believe the blue fire beast is getting slaughtered with such ridiculous ease. Gathering mana, our warrior preps the finishing blow, closing his eyes and feeling the freezing energy. Suddenly, a whip crack of blue aura explodes from the sword, cutting the wind with insane freezing power. Taking the magic whip head-on, a wolf gets crushed into the dirt without pity. But the pack leader leaps in roaring, spitting blue sparks from its mouth to avenge its sliced up family. Drawing his weapon, the kid gives no quarter and blasts the last opponent, right in the middle of its bizarre jump. With a dull thud, the massive beast drops, pinned with arrows and its face totally deformed by heavy hits. Drawing his sword in a fatal spin, our MC tears open the last wolf's chest mid-leap. Kicking the carcass aside, the warrior clears the path and finishes the carnage with an epic back-facing pose. Hitting the ground with a crash, the beast coughs up blood while the kid slowly sheathes his blade. Staring at the remains of the pack, his eye gleams with pure adrenaline and laser focus on the mission to collect the magic jewels. Wasting no time, he shoves his hand into the wolf boss's body and rips out the core, overflowing with energy and blood. Next to him, the ex-gladiator tells everyone not to drop their guard because danger could pop out of the shadows again. Giving a smile, our hero congratulates his partner for the backup while wiping his sweaty face. The big guy just scratches his head, admitting the two newbies worked pretty well together in that death zone. Walking slowly, the gray-haired captain approaches the duo, praising the rookies' monstrous skills and asking which squad they belong to. Trembling with nerves, the brute salutes, revealing they're the reserve scum serving the Lord under Butler Cornell's orders. Shocked and offended, one of the soldiers yells, asking what kind of joke it is for the butler to send riffraff on a mission to the hellish forest. Annoyed, the suited guard grumbles in anger, calling the butler and the countess filthy dogs. Blinking in confusion, the brute asks if they were seriously badmouthing the lady of the house so openly. Ignoring all the elite gossip, our kid holds the purple stone up to the sun and evaluates that this mid-level core is exactly what his pocket needed. With the jewel in hand, he decides right there he's going to use the grimoire's secret teachings to craft a brutal potion right away. Out of nowhere, the bootlicker soldier yells, cursing our kid out and telling him to stay away from the trophy. Drawing his sword, the jerk demands to know who gave the slave permission to touch the noble monster's loot. Raising his hand, the gray-haired captain stops the fight, stating the priority here is completing the Marquis's main mission, not stealing a magic pebble. Letting out a cynical chuckle, the kid mocks the soldier, asking if calling the guy who saved their skins a brat is the best way to say thanks. Ticked off, the goon widens his eyes and grits his teeth at the pleb rookie's audacity. Out of control, the fool tries to charge in, telling the kid not to celebrate too early. But the boss tells him to cool his head. Staring the guards down up close, our hero whispers the captain's name, recalling details from his past life. In a flashback, the warrior remembers the time he walked side by side with the Lord through the palace's fancy halls. Back then, the Marquis was always crying over the deaths of the captain and the elite guards in super dramatic fashion in front of the family portrait. Connecting the dots, the kid realizes these were the exact soldiers who perished in the sinister forest, causing a collapse in the Lord's power in the future. Smiling mentally, the MC celebrates that he just altered the elite guard's tragic destiny by saving everyone's lives. Terrified by the tense silence, the ex-gladiator grabs our kid's arm, stuttering apologies to the captain, claiming the newbie is crazy and doesn't know the rules. Suddenly a deep, angry voice cuts the air, cursing the guards and telling the hold witch's dogs to shut up and stay out of the fight. Confused and shocked, the big guy widens his eyes, unable to understand who had the guts to call the powerful countess an old witch in the middle of the woods. Panning up, the camera reveals a female warrior radiating total authority, stepping onto the scene and acting like she owns the place with major attitude. Ignoring the snob's gossip, the gray-haired captain focuses on the kid, admitting his strength is no joke. Without stalling, the veteran warns that if the kid keeps up this cocky attitude, things are gonna get ugly for him. Totally neutral, our MC doesn't even blink, taking the guard boss's lecture without making a peep. Turning his back, the captain gives a cold thanks for the help earlier, but stresses they need to finish the mission alone. Barely 2 steps forward, the entire ground starts shaking like an earthquake is about to swallow the forest. In full panic, the squad huddles back in the center, sweating cold, not understanding where this bizarre pressure is coming from. Instantly, a massive flock of crows takes off, tearing through the forest sky and signaling the absolute worst. Emerging from the heavy bushes, dozens of blue flame wolves start popping up, surrounding the entire crew. Shaking in his boots, the cowardly soldier stutters, asking what kind of madness that amount of beasts in one place is. But the tough warrior girl doesn't blink, pointing to the center, confirming they just ran into the king of the pack. Behind her, a literal sea of demonic beasts roars, shaking the woods and trapping everyone with no way out. With glowing red eyes full of hate, the pack leader preps the fatal strike, zeroing in on the human squad. Immediately, the guard tries to set up a circle formation, but the sheer desperation is already written all over everyone's faces. The gray-haired captain screams desperate orders, telling everyone to hold the defensive line at all costs. But with an otherworldly impact, the Wolf King explodes towards them like a blue meteor, tearing their defense right down the middle. Bleeding badly, the captain coughs, feeling his ribs get crushed by the colossal beast's surreal hit. But right before the monster can deliver the final bite, a silhouette flies through the air and blocks the deadly attack with a pure reflex. Clueless as to what just happened, the gray-haired guy widens his eyes seeing our hero slice the Wolf King's snout with a heavy slash. Smiling at the danger, the kid mocks him, pointing out that this is already the second time today he saved the big shot's skin. Furious about the cut, the wolf leader lets out a roar that shakes the trees, calling the whole pack for a concentrated strike. Spinning his body, our warrior focuses all his strength into his old sword's blade, prepping a heavy counter. With a yell, he unleashes an insane upward slash, calling it Mountain Breaker, and knocks the giant beast backward. Slamming hard into the ground, the massive beast kicks up dust and rolls, trying to get its aggressive stance back. Taking a deep breath, the MC mentally admits this enemy is a tough nut to crack, and isn't going down in one hit. Making the situation worse, the whole pack of smaller wolves decides to charge in, drooling with hate to avenge their wounded boss. Slicing through the lesser beasts, our hero tears through the pack, dodging deadly bites with absurd agility. With a perfect leap, he sends another magic whip through the air, clearing the area around him in a second. Gripping his weapon's hilt, the kid realizes his rookie body is starting to hit its endurance limit. He figures out that relying purely on close combat isn't going to be enough to bring down that overpowered monster king. Catching up from the rear, the captain and the warrior girl ask if the kid is even alive after that suicidal stunt. With that gaze of pure ice, the Wolf King steps back and scans the battlefield, plotting its next move. In that exact moment, the sea of fire beasts obeys their leader and surrounds the human squad edge to edge, leaving zero gaps for escape. In total panic, the cowardly soldier stutters that they barely handled the pups, and fighting the king is just asking to perish right there. But with his usual chill vibe, our MC turns his head and tells the loser to stop crying and stop worrying about the smaller pack. Pointing his blade at the monster, he drops the truth, saying those dumb mutts only follow the absolute will of their leader. Catching on to the strategy, the captain gulps hard, muttering that the suicidal plan is to beat the Wolf King in a brawl. Trembling all over, the ex-arena champ yells that they're losing their minds, and their swords won't even scratch the colossal beast. Flashing a sadistic smirk, our kid ignores the whining and throws it in their faces that if they don't try, they won't know the outcome. Completely shocked, the big guy stammers, calling his partner a total, irresponsible lunatic. Owning the situation, the captain agrees that fighting or fleeing leads to a game over either way, so it's better to go down swinging. Turning his back, he orders the elite squad to keep their heads up and follow the rookie's insane plan, without another question. Locking eyes with the beast boss, our hero says they just need to crack open one perfect window of opportunity. Drooling flames, the big wolf roars again, ordering the pack's final charge to eat the humans whole. Sweating cold, the warrior girl grumbles about the absurd pressure of the mass attack while holding her sword steady. Feeling the wave of monsters rushing in hard, the kid tells everyone to stay calm and hold their ground no matter what. Fixing his vision on the horde, he yells for the team to hold steady and lure the wolves super close to the shield wall. Ticked off, the cowardly lackey yells, asking who gave the kid the authority to boss around Divine Guard officers. But the gray-haired captain cuts the drama short, ordering the subordinate to shut up and blindly follow the rookie's commands. Wasting no time, our warrior points at the big slave and tells him he needs to cover the rear properly. To make sure his partner stays focused, the hero drops the weight of the dream to make his little sister proud, right on the brute's head. Instantly, the memory hits hard, and the fighter freezes with the reality check planted in his mind. Right on time, the captain screams, warning that the wave of beasts has made close quarters contact. With a giant crash, the first line of monsters smashes into the squad's heavy shields, making the earth shake. Even under the pressure, the Proto yells, telling them to hold the line, because it still isn't the right moment for the counterattack. Keeping his cool, he demands they let the pack sink deeper into the trap, closing the distance. Foaming with hate, the Wolf King leads the charge, forcing the human barrier to buckle right to its breaking point. At the perfect millisecond, the kid yells at the top of his lungs, ordering them to execute the kamikaze maneuver right now. Calling him by name, he commands the captain to use the Sacred Shield, special technique to blind all the beasts. With a bizarre explosion of light, the veteran's wall glows golden, blasting a blinding wave right into the pack's faces. Without missing a beat, the hero yells the cowardly soldier's name, telling him to sweep the front line with the sky, shaking strike. Full of rage and fear, the soldier screams, activating the heavy technique, bringing his sword down like lightning into the dirt. The shock of the blow creates a colossal rift, sending half the pack flying upward in a cloud of fire and dust. Keeping the momentum, the kid shouts the warrior girl's name, demanding she clear a path using her light attack. Without a second thought, the girl slices through the rest of the wolves with a flawless combo of thrusts, tearing the beasts to shreds. Behind them, the captain's mind is blown, watching a fake rookie orchestrate the elite guard's combos like he knows every single secret move. Flashing a satisfied smirk, the kid tells the big guy to follow him at full speed to wrap up this bloody mission. Chopping down the last monsters in the way, the warrior girl clears a path, cursing the beasts and opening the attack route to the pack leader. Right beside the Prota, the brute stutters, asking what the deal was with that bizarre synergy with the elite in the blink of an eye. Running like a madman, our warrior doesn't even bother answering, 100% focused on the big monster waiting for him. With his usual deadly glare, he mentally concludes that trying to scare the king failed, because the wolves thought the humans would run if they took a beating without fighting back. Showing no mercy, the kid coldly mutters "Jump that fighting a beast and fighting stupid people is exactly the same thing." Confused, his buddy stammers, asking him to translate those insane tactics into plain English because he didn't understand the strategy at all. Ignoring his partner's slowness, the MC drops the truth, saying he didn't need to get into a fistfight to destroy the target from far away. Shocked, the ex-champ freezes upon hearing the kid say that swords aren't the only weapon available in the arsenal. In a blinding, sinister glow, our hero's hands start charging an absurd amount of pure magic to finish this brawl for good. With his eyes glowing intensely, the kid invokes the Ice Lotus technique, tearing up the ground with pure magic. Like a carpet bombing, several ice spikes explode from the earth, impaling the Wolf King's stomach, making it roar in pain. Watching from the front row, the ex-gladiator can't believe his fake partner also masters high-level magic. Totally pinned by the ice, the blue fire monster thrashes around, spewing flames everywhere. Cold as always, our hero announces he still has way more tricks up his sleeve to show off. Desperate, the colossal beast leaps, roaring with hate and tearing through the air straight toward the kid. With a perfect reflex, the brute partner appears in mid-air holding his spear to assist in the final combo. Clashing head-on, the big warrior sinks his weapon into the Wolf King's shoulder, pinning the beast in place. Bleeding heavily, the beast tries to fight back, but the weight of the attack pins it to the ground. With his hand sparking pure purple energy, our MC walks slowly and announces the show is over for the beast. Suddenly, a dark ice knight forms around the kid in a colossal demonic aura. Facing the terrifying summon, even the Wolf King feels a chill down its spine, realizing the Grim Reaper has really arrived. In full panic, the monster's pupils shrink as it tries to gasp for air for one last useless attack. In the blink of an eye, the Phantom Knight's sword drops, splitting the beast's head open with absurd force. The magic's impact creates a monstrous vertical explosion that tears through the entire forest, slicing the Wolf King right down the middle. Wrecking everything, the magic attack turns the colossal beast into chunks of meat, splashing blood everywhere. With a dull thud, the severed head of the Wolf King drops to the ground, kicking up dust and silencing the forest for good. Unable to close his mouth, the big partner grumbles that what he just saw was straight up impossible for a normal human. Soaking up the monster's energy, our warrior grabs the king's giant core while it clashes with his own pure magic. Walking through the blood, the elite soldier duo arrives, asking if the two rookies are still alive after that madness. The gray-haired captain scratches his beard and drops the truth, saying the kid's bizarre plan to bait the king and scare off the pups worked perfectly. But out of nowhere, a leather boot steps on one of the shattered ice rocks, catching everyone's attention. Cutting the tension, the purple-haired warrior crouches, picking up one of the crystals and studying the cold magic still glowing inside. In a nostalgic tone, she confesses to the captain that this destructive attack really reminded her of their old boss's glory days. Feeling nostalgic too, the gray-haired guy agrees, nodding and correcting that she's talking about Marquis Lord himself in his youth. Getting emotional, the girl recalls they were lion-hearted knights led by the Lord before the order was disbanded due to political backstabbing. Listening to the gossip, the big guy whispers in the prota's ear, saying the chick is just talking nonsense trying to kiss up to the Lord. Furious at the whisper, the warrior girl yells at the brute, asking what the trash just called her. Acting tough, his partner crosses his arms and tells the girl to remember his name is Dak, not Trash. With a total psycho face, the girl's eyes go wide, feeling her blood boil at the rookie's audacity. Trembling all over, the lackey soldier pulls the captain and stutters some gossip, saying this chick calls the countess and cold witch. With zero fear. In a panic, the big guy's eyes widen, realizing he just insulted a crazy girl who doesn't even respect the mansion's big bosses. Foaming with rage, the warrior marches forward with heavy steps, asking what exactly makes her look like an old lady for him to have the guts to insult her like that. Scared to death, the brute tries to fix his screw up by complimenting her, saying she's at the absolute peak of her beautiful, gorgeous youth. But the drama gets shut down when the gray-haired captain puts a hand on her shoulder and points out a new headache arriving. Ignoring the childish bickering, our MC already locks his eyes on the horizon, smelling some preppy trouble. In a mental flashback, the kid remembers people laughing in Herr Fried's face in his past life, treating the guy like a total joke. Back in the woods, a fancy horse steps heavily, stopping right in front of the blood-soaked squad. Sitting on the saddle, the spoiled hare looks down with a disgusted face, asking what the heck is going on in his property. Immediately, the elite guard takes a knee to show respect to the Lord's son, while our warrior stays standing, staring the rich kid down. Looking out of the corner of his eye, the hare notices the slave's attitude and frowns, definitely not liking the lack of respect. But when the rich kid turns his head, he gets a huge scare seeing the wrecked battlefield. Stuttering, the gray-haired captain looks up and tries to explain, saying they came to investigate the anomalies in the dark forest. Looking bored, the preppy hare scans the massacre around them without giving it much thought. Pointing at the carcasses, the warrior girl explains the whole squad got cornered by a bizarre pack of blue flame wolves. Hyping up the duo, the captain drops the truth, saying if it weren't for the raw strength of the two newbies, they'd all be monster dinner by now. Raising an eyebrow, the rich hare realizes the squad is praising the guy who stole his family name. Drooling with rage, the preppy kid grips his whip tight, remembering the humiliation our kid put him through back at the mansion. Trying to smooth things over, the gray-haired guy suggests taking the boys to the Lord and reporting the insane achievement to score them a promotion. Just hearing that, the spoiled son shakes in his saddle, furious at the idea of a slave scoring points with his dad to steal his spot as Lord. In his mind, the hare remembers his mom already warned him that any success from the rookie could wreck the pure family's guaranteed future. Sweating cold, the rich kid realizes if his dad finds out the kid soloed a legendary monster, the succession is totally screwed. With a look full of malice, the preppy locks his eyes on the big guy partner, plotting a way to ruin the party without getting his hands dirty. Lowering his head, the brute feels a chill down his spine. Feeling the heavy threat from the hare pressing on his neck, flashing a sadistic smirk, the rich kid finds the perfect excuse to screw the duo over using dirty tricks. Mockingly, the hare points at the big guy and says it's a miracle seeing him loose in the woods, since he usually follows his little sister around like a puppy. Playing derby, the preppy kid accuses the big guy of breaking the strict law against entering the Forest of Doom without official permission. Completely shocked, the partner freezes, feeling the clear threat against his own sister's life used as pure blackmail. In a demonic tone, the hare whispers that the fighter's little sister wouldn't like hearing her big brother is disobeying the elite. Hearing this nonsense, our warrior can't take it and figures out that taking a beating in life doesn't fix a spoiled playboy who cries behind his mommy's back. Taking a step forward, our kid doesn't drop his guard and throws it right in the rich kid's face, loudly calling him a failure. Hearing the insult, the crazy warrior girl loses it and bursts out laughing, pointing at the humiliated hare. Foaming with pure hate, the preppy kid yells, squeezing his whip and asking what the human trash just vomited out. Full of mockery, the MC says the elite guard only kneels to the hare out of obligation, not out of any real respect. In the background, the soldiers' eyes widen as they gulp hard, watching the beef of the century unfold right in front of them with zero filter. Keeping the show going, the warrior says the rich kid only has any clout because he popped out of the witch countess's belly, and that's it. Showing off, he fakes pity, saying it must feel real nice acting tough just because mom and dad are big shots in the empire. Out of control, the hare threatens him, saying snapping his fingers is enough to have his goons wipe the scum off the face of the earth. Letting out a demonic chuckle, our MC ignores the threat and hits the kid with the most humiliating final argument possible. Using a childish voice, he mocks him, asking if before ordering a hit, the rich kid doesn't need to go cry and ask his mommy for permission first. Hit right in the ego, the Lord's son grinds his teeth, feeling the shame completely destroy his superior act. Red as a tomato, the preppy screams for the elite squad to arrest the insolent slave right now. But before any guard can raise a sword, magic chains burst from the dirt, tying up our warrior's body in a single hit. Caught off guard, the kid turns his head, feeling the absurd pressure of the magic crushing his bones. Squeezing hard enough to almost snap his wrists, the chains lock the hero down, proving the noble betrayal ran much deeper. Pinned by the heavy chains, our warrior is dragged by a bunch of hooded assassins. With glowing red eyes, the creepy goon tightens the chain, giving zero chance for escape. Totally in shock, the gray-haired captain and the warrior girl recognize these guys as the Empire's blades. Tense, the purple-haired chick explains that these brutal mercenaries belong to the Williams family. In her mind flashes the image of the witch countess who sent this elite squad, just to protect her spoiled little boy. Full of arrogance, the preppy hare lies, straight to their faces, saying the butler sent the squad to help with the investigation. Furious, the warrior girl glares at the preppy kid and asks if he's gonna turn against her too. Panicking, the gray-haired captain tries to make an excuse and stutters, not knowing what to do. Even chained up, our MC keeps his cool entirely and calls the captain by name, breaking the tense vibe. Straight to the point, the kid tells the squad to leave and report everything directly to the Lord without worrying about him. Surprised by the attitude, the veterans realize the kid is acting as bait so they can get out alive. Very quietly, the warrior girl warns that they can't take sides here, and it's best to sneak away. Frustrated by the cowardly situation, the gray guy clicks his tongue, tasting the bitter flavor of defeat. Turning their backs, the elite guards bail from the scene, while the rich kid flashes a disgusting smirk of victory. With a look of disgust, the hero mocks him, asking if he finally understands his life is in the elite's hands. With a mocking chuckle, our hero challenges the rich kid, telling him to finish the job already if he's a real man. Pleased with the swagger, the preppy lets out an evil laugh, tasting the power. Sword in hand, the coward announces to the whole world he just had a wonderful idea. Suddenly, the villain yells the brute's name, making the ex-gladiator jump in shock. Shooting a deadly glare, the preppy hare warns that every rebellious action has heavy consequences. With a quick move, the hare stabs his blade into the ground, offering the big guy a chance at redemption if he picks up the weapon. Full of malice, the rich kid gives the final order, telling the lackey to eliminate his own slave friend. Completely in shock, the fighter stutters, unable to believe the cruelty of the sick demand. Promising to pardon all his crimes, the preppy plays dirty while our MC stays pinned by the assassins. Suddenly, the kid's mind travels to the past, right to the first month of the demonic invasion on the world. In the memory, the big guy is shown getting whipped mercilessly in a monster camp, worked like an animal. Tearing into the scene, the proto from the past appears, burying his sword in one of the orc guards to storm the place. Then the vision shows the hero standing before a gigantic demon lord sitting on a dark throne, messing with people's minds. The monster plays a twisted game, forcing a terrible choice on the humans. Kneeling on the ground, our past MC waits for the end while his big partner holds a trembling sword. Desperate in the memory, the friend hears the monster's voice promising freedom if he takes out his buddy with his own hands. Flashing a toothy smile, the demon lord puts on maximum pressure, asking what the final call will be. Full of fear, the warrior grips his sword's hilt, getting ready to strike. In the present, the exact same scene repeats perfectly, with the big guy holding the weapon in front of our chained up hero. Taking a heavy step forward, the ex-arena champ seems to have made his choice. With empty eyes, the fighter starts venting, saying his dad passed away right on his little sister's birthday. In a sad memory, he's shown as a little kid hugging the girl out in the woods with nowhere to go. Head down, our MC listens to the tragic story of their mom passing, and the two becoming the Marquis's slaves. Holding the sword steady, the partner reveals the Countess sent the girl far away, but he comforts himself thinking she's safe from the monsters. In tears, the brute begs our kid to take care of his little sister in his place. In shock, the hero hears his friend ask him not to spoil the girl too much with food, since she's a really picky eater. Dropping heavy tears, the warrior asks him to tell the girl that her big brother went out like a true, honorable knight. In a sincere tone, the fighter prepares his soul for the ultimate sacrifice in the middle of the woods. Without a second thought, the big guy charges forward, screaming with the blade pointed straight at the group. Cold as ice, our MC stays locked in the chains, just watching the outcome of this repeating nightmare. Shaking like a leaf, the big guy points the sword, but just can't bring himself to deliver the fatal strike at all. To break the mood, the rich kid calls the lackey's name with a voice dripping with venom. Sitting on his horse, the preppy questions why there's so much hesitation to take out some piece of trash. With major guts, the ex-gladiator confesses he can't eliminate the guy who saved all their lives in the forest. Raising an eyebrow, the preppy here lets out a hum, faking surprise at the loyalty. Playing as dirty as possible, the villain pulls some psychological terror, asking what the little sister would think if she knew she got abandoned for a stranger. In a panic, the partner widens his eyes, stuttering that he'd never do something so cruel to the girl. Full of malice, the rich kid says the girl found out a knight needs a top-quality sword. Smiling sadistically, he reveals the little girl stopped eating to save up money and ended up passing out from exhaustion last week. Pale as a ghost, the fighter goes into shock, feeling the whole world crash down on his shoulders. Pointing his finger, the preppy threatens that if the big guy abandons the girl, he'll cut off her protection too. Completely broken, the warrior lets the sword slip from his hand, hitting the dirt floor. Collapsing to his knees, the brute cries loudly, begging the rich kid to spare his beloved sister's life. From up on his horse, the hare takes a dramatic pause, soaking up every second of the guy's despair. With a demonic smile, the coward gives the ultimatum, demanding our hero's demise in exchange for the girl's life. Head down, our MC lets out a dark chuckle, repeating the hit order with pure mockery. Out of nowhere, the kid bursts into an insane, terrifying laugh, even while tied up from head to toe. Confused by the madness, the rich kid frowns, asking what's so funny about this near game over situation. With a psycho glare, the hero throws it in his face that even a stray dog knows how to bark, but a scared coward could never take him out. He stands there, totally confused by his friend's suicidal taunt. Defying his authority, the kid proposes a fight to the bitter end against his partner, just to entertain the spoiled hare. Ticked off, the preppy kid grinds his teeth, trying to figure out the crazy plan behind all that swagger. Quickly, one of the assassins presses a blade to our MC's neck to add some pressure to the chat. Convinced he figured it out, the rich kid smiles, thinking the slave is terrified of the mercenaries and prefers fighting his buddy. Clapping his hands, the coward finds the idea interesting and greenlights the bloody duel to enjoy the show from his VIP seat. Instantly, the magic chains dissolve and fall to the ground, freeing our warrior from his bindings. Free again, the kid rolls his shoulders while the gladiator picks up the sword from the ground with trembling hands. Getting into a combat stance, the big guy points the weapon at the hero, his heart heavy with guilt. Almost in tears, the partner whispers, asking if the kid is really serious about fighting to the bitter end here. But the hare screams the fighter's little sister's name, making the guy freeze and force himself into a completely killer stance. Blinded by rage, the big guy charges, telling the hero not to make his little sister cry no matter what. On pure reflex, our boy dodges the heavy strike that comes down, slicing the wind. Surprised by the speed, the ex-gladiator lets out a grunt of pure frustration. Without missing a beat, the MC hits him with a violent sweep, sending his partner straight to the ground. Even on the floor, the brute puts his guard up, spooked by the rookie's absurd quickness. With a crash, their swords clash as the hero brings his attack down hard. From the force of the impact, sparks fly off the blades, showing the brutal level of the fight. Pushing hard, the kid forces his buddy to back up, while listening to him question the reason for all this. Cold as ice, our warrior apologizes, stating he doesn't want to kick the bucket here either. Totally shocked, the big guy freezes in place, catching the kid's heavy message. Overcome by emotion, the fighter screams furiously and charges in again with blood in his eyes. Smoothly, the hero slides to the side, making the brute hit nothing but air. Holding up 3 fingers, the kid coldly decrees he'll wrap up the fight in just 3 moves. Full of swagger, he guarantees his promise out loud, announcing playtime ends right now. Sweating cold, the ex-champ mutters, spooked by his opponent's monstrous confidence and stance. Outraged by the mockery, the big guy claps back, yelling he'll finish the job in just 3 seconds. Facing the threat, our hero just cracks a cynical smile, like he's already won the fight in his head. From a distance, the preppy hare watches the whole brawl from his horse, looking totally bored. Stomping his foot hard, the ex-gladiator charges at his target like a runaway bulldozer. In the blink of an eye, the kid plants his feet to take the impact with total security. Instantly, the blades collide, creating a shockwave that kicks up dust all over the scene. Right by his buddy's ear, the kid whispers for him never to abandon his partners in war. In that exact moment, the fighter freezes, feeling the weight of those words hit his conscience hard. Suddenly, the memory of a mysterious figure from the past invades the brute's mind, without warning. Losing his focus completely, the ex-champ leaves his guard wide open for a split second. Taking the opening, the hero kicks the big guy's leg, breaking his attack posture. Watching the slip up, the hooded assassin's red eyes widen in surprise at the technique. With a perfect sweep, our warrior knocks his friend off his feet without feeling bad about hurting him. Sent flying, the brute crashes hard into the rocks, kicking up a cloud of dirt and leaves. With a yell of pain, the poor guy goes down defeated, confirming the rigged duel is over right there. Spooked by the sudden crash, the rich kid's horse rears up out of control while he screams in terror. Soon, the preppy's face twists with pure rage seeing his lackey taken down so fast. Without wasting a single second, our MC jumps, tearing through the air straight for the rich kid. Completely panicked, the hare screams like a maniac, feeling his doom flying toward him. In pure desperation, he channels an absurd amount of purple lightning magic into his hands to try and survive. In an insane clash, the kid's sword hits the villain's makeshift electric shield head-on. Getting his cool back, the preppy mocks him, saying the trash knows how to scrap a little bit after all. Returning the mockery, the hero flashes a psycho smile and tells him never to underestimate the riffraff. Trembling with hate, the rich kid completely loses his patience with the slave's massive audacity. In a violent burst of lightning, the preppy blasts our kid far away to make some room in the arena. Landing smoothly, the warrior slides across the grass, keeping his laser focus on the annoying enemy. Suddenly, a bizarre detail catches the MC's attention through the settling dust. From above, the villain yells, ordering his own goons to back away from the fight immediately. Freezing in place, the assassins obey, while the hare shouts that the kill belongs strictly to him. Cold and calculating, our boy just stares at the light show set up by the arrogant enemy. With a vein popping on his forehead, the rich kid roars, unleashing a monstrous electric charge from his own body. Instantly, a giant magic circle filled with runes lights up the forest sky in purple. Lying on the ground, the big guy wakes up and widens his eyes, recognizing the terrifying spell that's gonna blow everything up. At the same time, the grimoire system pings in the kid's mind, warning about the absurd mana levels. Gripping his sword hilt, the hero grumbles that playtime just got seriously dangerous this time. Checking the system panel, he analyzes the preppy opponent's overpowered and deadly magic stats. Making it worse, the book bluntly warns that his body won't be able to tank that destructive hit at all. Shrugging it off, the kid smirks cynically and decides to test his own luck by facing it head-on. Swollen with ego, the preppy fires the deadly bolt, wanting to show off the crushing difference in divine power. In that exact millisecond, our warrior summons his own hardcore ice magic to defend against the impact. In a titanic collision, the summoned ice spikes crash straight into the storm of purple lightning. Gritting his teeth, the MC pushes his magic to the absolute limit to try and break the enemy's crushing offense. Suddenly, a colossal explosion sweeps the scene, swallowing trees and rocks in a blinding white light. Shielding his eyes, the hare stutters in confusion, thinking he hallucinated seeing the slave use magic. From the thick smoke, a freezing slash tears through the battlefield, flying straight at the preppy lord. Spooked, the rich kid throws up a makeshift electric barrier to hold back the deadly wave of cold. Totally lost, he asks himself where the heck that heavy ice came from out of nowhere. Cutting through the fog, our hero charges forward, mocking the villain's face, asking if that was the max power of the nobility. Wrapped in a killer aura of ice, the kid calls the hare useless and a total failure. In the background, the assassins start panicking, unable to believe the human trash survived the apocalyptic strike. Still on the ground, the brute just watches the show with his mouth hanging open in shock. Biting his lip, the preppy tries to force himself to believe this is all just a dirty trick from the peasants. Foaming with rage, the villain screams in rebellion, claiming it's impossible for a filthy slave to use high-level magic. Standing firm on the dirt, the MC swears he's absolutely not losing to a scared playboy. Suddenly, a flashing red warning freezes the hero's blood, letting him know his mana just hit 0. Out of energy, the kid's body gives out instantly, and he drops to his knees totally exhausted. Grinding his teeth, the warrior realizes the massive screw up he made by draining his magic tank in a single combo. Trying to stand up on pure hate, the kid lets out a groan of pain, feeling his muscles lock up completely. Out of the corner of his eye, he sees the purple electric storm coming back full force to wipe his existence off the map. With the face of a total psycho, the hare screams his lungs out, telling his enemy to burn in hell. In a colossal explosion of purple lightning, the entire forest scene shakes absurdly. Screaming in pure agony, our hero feels his own body fry from the invading magic overload. With his eyes glowing in a terrifying way, the kid asks desperately if this is the end of the line for him. Right then, the system pings a lethal red alert, stating the lack of mana triggered the fury mode. Gritting his teeth in rage, the kid swears he won't kick the bucket in such a pathetic place. Suddenly, sinister blue flames explode from his face, tearing through the enemy's magic. Covered in a dark aura and blue flames, the MC takes on the stance of a truly overpowered demon lord. Totally glitched, the holographic panel shows the kid's stats as unknown, creeping out even the boy himself. Confused by the situation, the warrior touches his face, trying to figure out what bizarre power just woke up. Quickly, the flames start evaporating, and he realizes this insane mode is on a super strict time limit. Without wasting a millisecond, he dashes like lightning, promising to end the fight in the blink of an eye. Terrified, the preppy hare's eyes go wide, unable to believe a mere slave is rocking high-level magic. With a thunderous leap, the hero preps a devastating aerial strike, while the rich kid goes into shock from the dark energy. With a deafening scream, the villain sees the blade of demise coming straight for his head. Instantly, the brutal impact of the clashing weapons shatters the battlefield, creating a destructive shockwave. From the head-on collision, a mountain of ice explodes, sending the rich hare flying away, horse and all. Spinning in the air, our MC doesn't let up and keeps the frantic combo going. With a punch loaded with pure blue magic, the kid smashes the opponent's face without a shred of mercy. Cold and calculating, the warrior's dark glare proves the cat and mouse game is over for good. Desperate, the preppy tries to put up a lightning defense, but gets totally swallowed by the crushing pressure. Sweating cold from terror, the coward grits his teeth, realizing the Grim Reaper is knocking hard on his door. Holding his trembling sword, the preppy curses, watching disaster strike right in his face. Like a phantom, our hero cuts the air, slicing the wind and drawing blood mid-charge. Skidding across the dirt, the villain curses in frustration at taking a humiliating beatdown from a commoner. Panning heavily, the MC lands, his blue aura burning intensely and eating up his stamina. Being super observant, the hare squints and notices the kid's gas tank is flashing on empty. Completely exhausted, the warrior gasps for air while the demon mode gets weaker by force. Full of ego again, the rich kid flashes a cynical smile, betting his target has finally hit his physical limit. Instantly, the villain summons a purple lightning storm, promising to fry the slave without a second thought. Even broken, the hero plants his feet on the ground and readies his sword for one last suicidal clash in the woods. In a deadly collision, the ice magic and purple lightning clash, tearing the dimension of the scene apart. Breaking the enemy's defense, the kid pushes his blade forward, announcing judgment time has arrived while the rich kid freezes. From the sheer force of the colossal impact, a massive energy wave sends rocks and dust flying everywhere. Face to face, the two warriors put every last drop of strength into a tense, desperate tug of war. Suddenly, a giant golden magic circle pops out of nowhere right between their blades, stopping both their attacks. With an absurd repulsive force, the golden magic explodes, throwing the brawlers away like ragdolls. Walking imposingly out of the smoke, Marquis Lord Darius appears with his arm raised, ordering the circus to stop right now. Furious, the big shot gives them a massive scolding, warning them this is hunting territory, not a gladiator ring. Riding his black horse, the old man orders that if they really want to destroy each other, they should settle it in their own backyard. Trembling in his boots, the preppy chokes back tears, muttering his dad's name while looking like a total fool. Almost passing out, our hero acknowledges the Lord's authority, while the blue flames fade out for good. Unable to carry his own weight anymore, the kid drops to his knees on the ground, sighing in relief that the danger has passed. Checking out the sinister damage, the Marquis analyzes the whole scene with a dark, unreadable look. Finally, his limit breaks and our warrior falls face first into the dirt, losing consciousness completely. Cutting to a few days later, the scene focuses straight on a fancy ceiling covered in lit chandeliers. Opening his eyes slowly, the MC wakes up dizzy, asking where the heck he ended up. Suddenly, he sits up in bed, eyes wide open, totally startled by the change of scenery. To the kid's surprise, the room is pure luxury, proving he finally got out of the riffraff's filthy barracks. Staring at his own hands, he breathes out relieved that he made it out of that demonic berserker mode in one piece, and without side effects. Over in the corner, the brute Dak appears with his arms crossed, asking if Sleeping Beauty finally decided to get up. Still a bit spacey, the hero stares at the big guy, trying to connect the blurry pieces of his memory. Instantly, the kid jumps back in terror, spooked by the ex-gladiator's busted zombie face. With deep eye bags and pale skin, the partner drops a creepy good morning, forcing the scariest smile in the world. Keeping it chill, the big guy explains that after that intense showdown, the kid just completely passed out in the woods. In a quick flashback, the gray-haired captain carries the unconscious rookie, while the rich kid throws a fit, and the partner suffers a panic attack. Hearing the dramatic recap, our warrior finds the mess funny and calls the fighter a drama queen, putting his boot on the clean floor. The kid is already getting ready to bounce back to his usual hustle. Letting out a huge stretch, the hero sees he's fully healed and says he's going to thank the guard while hunting for some grub. Right then, the big guy remembers a crucial detail and points at himself, claiming the credit. Full of genuine gratitude, our MC flashes a smile and sincerely thanks him for having his back in the forest of doom. Totally awkward, the brute's cheeks turn red as he mutters that the kid actually has some manners after all. Then an aerial view cuts to the Marquis's giant, super busy courtyard running at full speed. Strolling casually down the street, the servants start pointing and whispering, recognizing the troublemaking rookie. Clueless about the gossiping crowd, the kid asks his buddy what the hot rumor on the street is today. In the halls, the maids whisper in shock about the rumor of the slave who crushed the Hair Lord without mercy. Playing dumb, the hero tries to fish for the gossip, directly asking what they're saying about him and the rich kid. With a hysterical scream, the girls bolt away terrified, as if they just crossed paths with the Grim Reaper himself. Sweating cold, the big guy finds the scene ridiculous, comparing the girl's reaction to someone who saw a ghost. With a slight frown, the MC repeats the word, ghost, not really vibing with his new reputation as the town boogeyman. Joking around, the kid blames their escape on his partner's zombie face, while the two crack up trading jabs. Suddenly, a heavy military boot drops into the middle of the street, blocking the duo's path instantly. Looking up, the hero throws heavy sarcasm recognizing the suited guards, while the big guy freezes behind him. Drooling with pure hate, the one-eyed elite captain shows up, ruining the mood and calling the kid the future Grand Lord in a disgusted tone. Yelling loudly, the villain tells the brute to stay out of it, while the partner gulps hard and quickly apologizes. But the one-eyed guy's tough act crumbles when he freezes in shock at the cocky response the MC fires right back. Foaming with rage, the one-eyed captain warns he came back to collect the debt from their last fight. Facing the threat, our hero just keeps his bored look, not caring in the slightest. Full of excuses, the villain tries to justify himself, saying he was caught off guard last time. With a super confident gesture, the coward snaps his fingers to give the attack signal. With a furious glare, he guarantees the story is going to be way different this time. At that moment, the entire squad appears, surrounding our MC and his brute partner. Once again, the captain snaps his fingers, expecting an ambush that just doesn't happen. Cold and calculating, the kid stays quiet, just watching the opponent embarrass himself. Sweating cold, the suit tries to snap his fingers again, already realizing he screwed up. Totally out of control, he yells, demanding to know why the soldiers didn't attack on his signal. Trembling in their boots, the goons whisper that the rookie is a monster, and picking a fight with him is suicide. Seeing his panic, the ex-gladiator and the hero let out a chuckle at the pathetic situation. Ticked off, the one-eyed guy calls his men cowards but realizes he can't back down without losing his respect. With an evil smile, the trash decides to handle the problem himself with a cowardly move. Feeling awkward, the big guy Dak tenses up as the angry big shot approaches. Way too confident, the suit fully believes he can take the fighter down single-handedly. In a dirty move, he grabs the partner by the collar, calling the guy an ungrateful traitor. Spooked, the ex Champ freezes while the villain says he'll punish him in place of the preppy here. Winding up a brutal punch, the one-eyed guy swings hard, aiming right for the poor guy's face. Suddenly, a loud thud echoes when our warrior's hand blocks the attack mid-air effortlessly. In total shock, the captain's single eye widens, unable to understand how he was stopped so easily. Staring him down, the kid warns that this piece of trash has zero right to judge anyone here. Out of patience, the MC shoves the attacker hard, breaking the coward's stance instantly. Skidding backward, the villain sweats cold, outraged by the slave's audacity to stand up to him again. At that exact moment, heavy footsteps catch the attention of the whole crowd in the courtyard. Annoyed, a gray-haired veteran yells, asking what all the screaming is about so early in the morning. Behind him, the elite squad complains they can't even drink their coffee in peace with all this mess. Celebrating inside, the one-eyed guy flashes a sadistic smile, thinking the rookies are toast in the hands of the elite. Quickly, the scammer takes a knee, kissing up to the veterans and promising to report the issue. Pointing his finger in our hero's face, he lies through his teeth, saying he was just teaching the rebellious slaves some manners. Ignoring the coward's fake act, our MC raises his hand and casually greets the veterans. Outraged, the one-eyed guy calls the kid insolent, asking if he has any idea who those authorities are. To everyone's surprise, the gray-haired guy pushes the scammer's arm down, laughing and celebrating a winning bet. Completely lost, the bootlicker captain's eye goes wide, not understanding a single thing going on. Crowding around the hero, the elite squad jokes about who won the cash, totally ignoring the villain. Pale-faced, the suit thinks he's having a hallucination and wonders if this is all a nightmare. Stuttering, he tries to pull rank, saying servants can't hang out with the elite because of the castle rules. Instantly, the purple-haired warrior grabs the trash's shoulder, warning they don't give a damn about the old witch's laws. Shooting a killer glare, she tells the guy to shut his mouth, if he doesn't want to lose his remaining eye. Paralyzed by terror, the suit stays mute while the guard leader tells everyone to bounce from the spot. With a smirk, our warrior mocks the one-eyed guy, letting him know he won this round too. Soon, the scene cuts to several giant beer mugs clinking in a lively toast. At the bar table, the gray-haired captain admits he was going to thank him for the forest rescue, but ended up being saved from that annoying one-eyed guy too. Blushing a bit, the purple-haired girl claims she hated that snobby big shot, and that the alliance with the heroes was a godsend. Curious, the brute partner asks if she already had some old beef with that annoying vice captain. Chugging her drink in one go, the warrior dodges the question, saying remembering the guy ruins the beer. To cut the relaxed vibe, the gray-haired leader clears his throat, grabbing the whole table's attention. In a super serious tone, the veteran makes an official offer, asking the duo to join the family's elite guard. Choking on his surprise, the big guy can't believe the offer while our hero stays completely chill. Explaining the perks, the old man guarantees the promotion would bring the same luxury as the high-tier servants. With the utmost calm, the MC rejects the offer flat out, saying he has zero interest in that gig. With a mysterious smile, the kid reveals his ambitions are ridiculously higher than that. Taking a sip of his beer, he leaves the suspense hanging, blowing the officers' minds. Not afraid to speak up, the kid states loud and clear that he wants the absolute top prize in this place. In total silence, the veteran squad stares at the rookie, utterly shocked by his arrogance. Losing it, one of the soldiers yells, telling him to forget the idea of becoming lord, claiming his win over the hare was pure luck. Quickly, the purple-haired girl interrupts, confirming that wasn't sword skill, it was real magic. Without missing a beat, she drops the bomb, saying she knows all about the spells used against the Wolf King. Pale from shock, the elite soldier can't grasp how a street slave would have access to such advanced magic studies. Staring dead at the kid, the gray-haired captain demands a clear explanation about this dangerous secret. Caught off guard, our warrior realizes the elite actually noticed the magic flying around during the hunt. Slamming his mug on the table, he mentally thanks his lucky stars that he already had the perfect excuse loaded. Worried for his partner, the brute Dak waits for the tense conversation to unfold. With her eyes shining with curiosity, the warrior girl says she already figured out the absolute truth about the rookie. Tense under the pressure, the hero braces for the worst, waiting for the guard's final accusation. Pointing her finger right at his face, the girl flashes a victorious smile, totally confident in her deduction. With a loud yell, she announces in the middle of the bar that the kid is a disguised ex-noble, not a slave. Grabbing the kid's shoulders, she loses her mind with excitement, swearing her instincts never miss. Tripping hard, the soldier creates a whole fanfic, claiming he's a betrayed hare trying to take back his power. Like in a fever dream, our MC appears in her imagination as a tragic, suffering hero standing in the rain. Looking totally baffled, the kid can't even believe the crazy theory they pulled out of thin air. Not wanting to ruin the moment, he lets out a fake, nervous laugh while the big guy buys the story instantly. Like a soap opera actor, the hero fakes being emotional, saying he didn't expect to be exposed so fast. Covering his face to fake crying, he makes up a sad backstory about running away from home to survive. In an Oscar-worthy performance, he swears payback against the villain nobles while the squad cries in pity over the little story. Frying his brain with worry, the big guy mutters, doubting the elite captain will swallow that lame excuse. Patting his partner on the back, the gray-haired guy swears to keep the secret, promising not to mess up the hero's plans whatsoever. Pulling the kid aside, the veteran advises him not to use magic in front of the witch countess or the hare ever again. Right after he warns that Marquis Lord wants to have a serious chat with the duo at the mansion ASAP. Sneaking out of the bar, the rookie duo walks down the streets with full bellies and a mission accomplished. Back there, the veteran squad waves, celebrating the secret alliance struck between them under the radar. With his arms crossed, the gray-haired guy murmurs, intrigued, remembering that the kid's supposed hometown is extremely far away. Strolling down the street, the brute partner brings up how surprised he is that the huge lie actually worked. Full of questions, he asks where the MC got the idea to pretend he was a hunted noble from that specific town. Chill as ever, the kid shrugs and replies that that place has always been a real snake pit full of mysteries. Checking his mental maps, he knows the town is in a forgotten corner, making it super hard to investigate. Smiling at his buddy, the hero spills the truth, saying that story was just a smokescreen to throw off the palace spies. Then, the fighter scratches his head, recalling the weird hand signal the kid made during the forest duel. Raising his hand again, the MC repeats the three-finger gesture and asks if the big guy recognized the signal. Suspicious, the ex-champ crosses his arms and asks if that was just another trick to fool the preppy jerk. Suddenly, the scene cuts to the past where the duo is in a night camp, practicing swordplay in the woods. With a steady look, the hero raises his weapon and apologizes to the big guy for what's about to go down. Closing his eyes, the brute simply accepts the heavy destiny without saying a word. Instantly, the memory cuts to action, and our boy slices open an orc demon's back with a brutal slash. Stepping on the dead monster, the kid mocks, warning that his excuse to save his buddy's little sister was way too flimsy. Covered in blood, the hero jams his sword into the rock and yells for the boss monster to hear the message loud and clear. In an insane rage, he charges at the giant beast, focusing pure magic on the tip of his blade. Cutting the air, a beam of destructive blue energy flies, tearing through the wind toward the enemy. Finding the audacity funny, the orc lord cracks a terrifying smile and mocks the pathetic little attack. Blocking with a colossal axe, the monster stops the charge, and the warrior's blade explodes in pure blue flames. Sweating cold, our hero spits blood, feeling his muscles give out as he tries to hold back the monster. Staring down his prey, the demon lord widens his red eyes, asking if the kid thought he could beat him alone. But in the blink of an eye, the brute partner comes flying in an absurd jump right behind the monster's back. With his sword ready for the kill, the big guy roars, announcing he's alive too and ready to brawl. Feeling the shadow of his demise arriving, the orc lord turns his head, spooked by the double ambush behind him. With a monstrous crash, the two warriors drive their swords in the beast, sending it straight to the floor in a geyser of blood. Tearing the wind, our hero drops down panting heavily after the insane physical effort it took to finish the boss. Completely exhausted, he slides his swords across the ground covered in the defeated creature's blood. Tossing his axe away, the big guy walks over yelling that his buddy's last words were ridiculous and overly dramatic. Full of attitude, the kid turns his head, yelling back that Brood the Brute would have been orc mincemeat if he hadn't helped. Wiping blood off his face, the partner bowls with rage, demanding to know why he pulled that suicidal stunt without warning. Making a twisted excuse, the MC throws it in his face that if he freed the prisoners right then, the monster would have sliced everyone up. Out of control, the fighter yells, demanding a heads up or a secret signal before such a kamikaze tactic. Mocking his face, our warrior pouts, asking if he should have yelled the plan out loud for the orc lord to hear. Totally frustrated, the big guy stumps his foot, grumbling about the lack of communication, while the troops celebrate. In the present, the hero snaps his 3 fingers, reminding his ex-gladiator friend about their old promise. Smirking, the kid says this is the secret signal to act without thinking, and just go with the flow of the fight. Straight up, he states that no matter the situation, if he flashes the signal, his true allies should attack without hesitation. Hearing the explanation, the ex-champ just crosses his arms, rolling his eyes and finding all that swagger unbearable. Back to the memory, the big guy calls the MC stubborn and predicts he'll end up locked up again with these suicidal stunts. Cutting the heavy mood with a smile, our hero lies, saying he learned that signal in the slave association. Smiling bitterly, he confessed the tactic came from an old friend, a stubborn, tough, nails guy like no other. Confused, the brute frowns, trying to recall any famous crazy guy in the arena who fit that profile. Cutting the scene to the palace, the two hear Marquis's permission and push the giant double doors open. Walking down the fancy carpet, the warrior duo enters the luxurious office of the family boss, who's standing with his back to them. Turning slowly in his armchair, the lord flashes a welcoming smile and asks straight up how their health is doing. Taking a step forward, our MC says thanks, claiming he's already at 100% thanks to the castle's perks. Super humble, the ex-gladiator lowers his head, showing maximum respect to the big shot. Without stalling, the veteran sighs heavily, letting them know he called the duo for a very important reason. Reading some reports, he confirms the forest hunt went completely out of control, and he needs to discuss the Monster King mess. Feeling guilty, the big guy lowers his head, taking the blame for entering the danger zone without the council's green light. But turning his back, the Marquis says he's known the gray-haired captain and his men for many, many years. Showing an old painting, he reveals he survived absolute bloodbaths with that night squad, and those guys are like his own flesh and blood. With a heavy voice, the old man admits he can't even imagine the pain of losing the entire elite team to the monsters. In a deep, sincere tone, the Lord turns around and thanks the two commoners from the bottom of his heart for saving his loyal veterans. Looking down, the big guy feels the weight of the words, regretting they couldn't prevent the minor casualties if they had arrived sooner. Giving a moral pat on the back, the Marquis drops the blame, saying the boys did absolutely nothing wrong. Swallowing his pride, the Lord says the blame for not seeing the giant pack coming falls squarely on his own shoulders. Shifting focus, the old man turns his back again and brings up the elite guard invitation offered at the bar. With his usual firmness, our hero rejects the offer right to the boss's face, dropping a cold no. Raising an eyebrow, the Marquis finds it funny and asks if the big guy wants to turn down the fancy gig too. Sweating cold and desperate, the brute stutters like a machine gun, terrified of offending the big shot. Panicking, the partner stammers non-stop, asking if a slave like him can really dream of a spot as an elite officer. With his face burning red, he tries to decline out of zero self-esteem, thinking he's unworthy of the awesome promotion. But gathering courage out of nowhere, the big guy clenches his fists and yells that he would love to be an official knight. Satisfied with the answer, the Lord nods slowly and asks our hero what true reward he wants instead of the job. Looking straight into his partner's eyes, the MC already had his master move ready to put on the table. In a super calculating tone, he brings up the brute's little sister who's suffering while working in the enemy's frozen lands. Demanding his prize, the kid tells the Marquis to bring the girl into the palace and shelter her under the Hall family's wings. Totally shocked and paralyzed, the ex-champ's eyes go wide, unable to believe his crazy partner's absurd generosity. Keeping a serious face, our kid confirms the request, saying he wants his partner's little sister right here in the palace. Giving a solid excuse, he states the little girl has frail health, and the big guy needs to watch over her closely. Impressed by the noble attitude, Marquis Lord asks again if that's really the only thing he wants. Looking at the fighter trembling with emotion, the hero drops the truth, saying he can't abandon a brother in arms when things are tough. With tears in his eyes, the ex-champ's eyes widen, unable to form a single word of thanks. Agreeing to the request, the old man thinks the reward is fair and authorizes the girl's transfer immediately. With a satisfied murmur, the Lord approves of their loyalty while the warrior duo thanks him together. With his back turned, the Marquis warns it'll take a little while to bring the girl over, since it involves the Williams family and the Countess's goons. Sending the big guy out of the office, the Lord says he needs to have a private chat alone with our MC. Soon, the heavy door closes, leaving just the two VIPs in the middle of the quiet, luxurious hall. Shooting a serious look, the veteran brings up the day the kid challenged the disgusting suit at the gladiator arena. Recalling that tense moment, the Lord says he realized right then that the kid was absolutely not a normal slave. Beyond raw strength, the old man reveals what really caught his eye was him tanking a magic attack to the chest and walking it off. But the main gossip drops now when the Marquis mentions the humiliating beatdown the spoiled hare took in the dark forest. Right then, the memory of the dark aura and blue flames flashes on screen, proving the boss already knows all about the demonic show. Staring deep into the kid's soul, the Lord suggests a hunted noble might actually hide that kind of bizarre power. Showing absolutely zero fear, our warrior shoots the calculating stare right back at the boss. Cold as ice, the kid snaps his fingers, summoning dozens of floating ice spikes in the office air. Playing humble, the MC swears up and down he's just an average guy trying to survive hell. Surrounded by the intimidating magic ice, he mocks it, saying he only knows a few basic spells so he doesn't get taken out easily. Laughing at his own lie, the hero figures that to such a powerful lord, this magic must look like a cheap circus trick. Impressed by the kid's boldness, the Marquis stares at the ice spikes, highly doubting that slave backstory. Stepping closer, the old man demands the raw truth, asking who the heck the kid really is and what he wants at the end of the day. In a genius move, our MC flips the strategy and starts playing the Lord's game, massaging the veteran's ego. Thumping his chest, the warrior showers the Marquis with praise, calling him the greatest lord to ever set foot in this empire. Clenching his fist, he swears loyalty, saying he respects someone who values raw power way more than pure, noble blood. With shining eyes, the kid drops the truth, saying his ideal is the exact same as the boss's. crushing this disgusting aristocratic nonsense. Playing his final card, the kid promises he'll train like a demon and surpass the Lord's strength in the future. In a promise forged in hate, the hero swears he's going to wipe out the hierarchy and be the greatest, strongest leader they've ever seen. And to prove his loyalty, he guarantees he'll be the absolute winner of the selection trial the family is setting up. In total silence, the Marquis processes the rookie's ambitious and brave speech. But out of nowhere, the veteran bursts into a loud, free laugh, finding the kid the most interesting person he's ever met. Picking up some papers from his desk, the old man says he's ready to pay to see if the kid's sword is as sharp as his tongue. Asking to be excused, our hero gives a polite bow and turns his back to bounce from the office. Before the kid crosses the door, the Lord raises his hand and asks one last question to test his memory. Straight up, the Marquis drops the name, Rowan, in the air, trying to fish for a reaction from the rookie. Blinking in confusion, the warrior repeats the name out loud, showing he has absolutely no clue who the guy is. Playing it off quickly, the veteran says it was nothing important and lets the kid go. Stepping into the hall, the kid lets out a relieved sigh. But his brain is already frying trying to remember that name. Staring at the office window, the Marquis analyzes the ex-slave's genuine look of confusion in a very calculating way. From behind the curtains, the spy butler Cornell steps out of the shadows, already prepped for his gossip report. With a sadistic smirk, the lackey guarantees that if the kid isn't a noble in disguise, then he's the biggest genius to ever walk the earth. Deep in thought, the butler agrees the kid truly didn't know the password, Rowan, used in the fallen noble's town. Even so, the suit suggests the guard shouldn't drop their guard, since the kid might be playing dirty with ulterior motives. Running his hand over the desk, the Lord mutters that there's already a dangerous precedent walking the castle halls. Staring at a fancy family portrait, the veteran remembers the Viper Countess and the schemes running wild under his roof. Interrupting his thoughts, the butler straightens his suit and pulls a mystery letter from his jacket to hand to the boss. Spooked by how fast the message arrived, the Lord grabs the envelope, wanting to know what disaster the spy cat sniffed out this time. Putting on a serious face, the Marquis mutters the secret instructions and tears the paper, already expecting the worst. Outside the window, the shadow of the so-called spy cat jumps along the walls, vanishing into the leaves like smoke. Cut to a room packed to the ceiling with chests, where our MC organizes the massive payout he earned from the forest hunts. Staring at the mountain of rare potions, expensive materials, and solid gold, the kid celebrates that the Lord kept his word and wasn't cheap. Sitting on the bed, the warrior checks out his loot and fries his brain trying to remember who the heck this Rowan the old man mentioned is. Scratching his neck, he grumbles that he only heard that name coming from the big guy Daxmouth in his past life, and super vaguely too. Mad about his bad memory, the kid realizes the Marquis asked that question with pure venom, thinking the answer was obvious. Saying screw it, he stops thinking about it and mixes some glowing liquids in a flask, deciding to focus on what really matters right now. Taking a swig of the stuff, he swears he'll squeeze the ex-gladiator later until he spills the beans on this Rowan guy. Swallowing the last drop of the bitter potion, the kid feels the magic burn on its way down his throat. Sitting on the floor, the hero takes a deep breath, prepping his body to activate the hardcore training sessions again. Focusing his mind, he yells, Grimoire, and boots up the overpowered system, glowing bright in the middle of the room. Floating like a ghost in the air, the magic book projects endless pages, forming a heavy magic circle around the kid. Without wasting time, he chugs more potions, wanting to suck up every possible drop of power. Tossing the empty flasks on the floor, the kid goes into a trance while the system's creepy knowledge invades his mind. Locked onto his goal, he mutters the command to absorb all the raw mana from the magic core he looted from the wolf king in the woods. Instantly, the grimoire obeys and shoots beams of blue light, linking the hero's body to the freezing fire crystal. Gritting his teeth in pure pain, he feels the absurd energy crushing his veins like they're going to explode. In a violent flash, the magic penetrates his skin, burning from the inside out mid-absorption. Panting heavily, the kid hears the system ping, telling him he gained 1 measly point of magic power. Totally exhausted, he grumbles, remembering the grimoire warned that consuming a beast core raw didn't give that great of a bonus. With a shaking hand, the hero mixes more regents in a test tube, noting he can't rely on turning into a demon and draining his mana all the time. Chugging the rest of the slimy liquid, he scrunches his face in disgust and complains that this slop tastes like pure garbage. With his stomach turning, he coughs hard, warning that if he drinks more of this, he'll end up throwing up right in the middle of the room. Ticked off at the slow progress, the kid checks his mana, stuck at 20, and complains there's no faster way to level up. Right then, the holographic panel pops a notification in his face, saying it detected a crazy item and teaches him how to forge a magic tool from scratch. Raising an eyebrow, the warrior looks at the glowing core and smiles, finding the idea of crafting his own arsenal pretty awesome. Reading the holographic panel's instructions, our kid's eyes widen, super hyped about the idea. Focusing all his energy, he crushes the Wolf King's core, feeling the magic pulse hard in the palm of his hand. With a laser-focused stare, the hero whispers the activation words the Grimoire system taught him. Instantly, the giant shadow of a golden demonic blacksmith rises behind him, swinging a colossal hammer. Feeling the insane pressure, the kid focuses on the mental image of the item he needs to craft. Sweating cold, he visualizes every single detail, wanting to forge something practical and stealthy for combat. Clicking his tongue, the warrior decides on the final shape and unleashes the spell. In the blink of an eye, the phantom blacksmith's hammer comes crashing down, tearing through the air straight onto the glowing core. Smiling in satisfaction, the MC just watches the golden light show craft the item flawlessly. With a deafening crash, the final strike scatters divine lightning all over the luxury room. Outside, the dead of night hides the magic explosion going down inside the stone mansion. When the dust settles, the kid is still sitting there, surrounded by a golden aura of pure energy. Slowly the light fades, and the system pings, confirming the creation of the magic tool was an absolute success. Staring at his wrist, the kid admires the stylish blue bracelet that now holds the Wolf King's powers. Quickly, he pulls out another potion flask with a sly smile to test the buffs he just scored. Tossing the potion down his throat, the hero wrinkles his nose at the bitter taste, but feels the effect right away. In the exact same second, the panel pings, announcing his magic jumped to level 20, too effortlessly. Clenching his fist, the warrior celebrates the overpowered bracelet that literally doubles his absorption stats. But checking the screen, he frowns, not getting what the second ability called Wild Intuition is all about. Turning his head confused, the kid suddenly realizes his eye is glowing like a car headlight. Blinking heavily, the Proto activates the bizarre vision mode, showing everything around him in a dark, infrared view. Seeing through the walls, the vision shows the silhouettes of the gossiping maids outside, their hearts beating in bright red. Startled, the girls freeze in the hallway, feeling a bad chill run down their spines like they're being hunted. Hyped about the new toy, the hero realizes the skill lets him read the life energy of anyone nearby right through walls. Sweeping his vision through the entire mansion, he spots the magic power level of every elite guard patrolling downstairs. Suddenly, his golden eye widens, locking onto two monstrous silhouettes overflowing with mana on the upper floor. Gulping hard, the kid recognizes that those monsters are Marquise Darius and the witch Countess Katrina. But before he can blink again, a dark, sinister voice echoes in his head, whispering in the pitch black void.